The story opens with a beam of light being shot straight up into the sky from a temple on a high mountain. The road to that mountain is extremely treacherous. There are people walking on the stairs below. The Nine Heavens continent, the Holy Land of Chaos, was once the most powerful Holy Land. Since the Great Chaos ascended to become an immortal, it began to gradually decline. And today is the day the Holy Land of Chaos opens its doors to receive disciples. Although the Holy Land of Chaos has declined, but the centipede dies but does not fall. So the number of people who come to worship is still endless. Seen here, you may ask, who is the main character in this story? A young man raised his hand to his forehead to shield his eyes from the sunlight ahead. He smiled and said, "Of course, it must be me. Phew, this is the Holy Land of Chaos, isn't it?" This young man was introduced as Tuvan, also the main character of this story. He confidently said, "Since I transmigrated to this world, you made me wait for 19 years. I finally waited for the day the Holy Land of Chaos opens its doors to receive disciples. If so, the first task of the system is also considered complete." Then a space appeared. In that space was a system board with the words, "Enlightenment system, completing the task can receive the number of times of enlightenment." Below that line of words was a mysterious circle. On it was a piece of paper with the content being the task, entering the territory of the Holy Land of Chaos, completed, reward the number of times of enlightenment 1, has been rewarded, about to refresh the number of enlightenments has been 1. Then another task appeared. The new task was to join the Holy Land of Chaos. The reward was 3 times the number of enlightenments. Tuvan stood in that space, he said. "The task is to join the Holy Land of Chaos just to my liking, but the new task is so generous. It usually comes to 3 enlightenments, it's really not to be missed." The system board appeared right before his eyes. It read the new task to join the Holy Land of Chaos. The reward is 3 times the number of enlightenments. Tuvan stood looking at the system board. He brought his hand to his chin and said, "Enlightenment is the realm that cultivators extremely randomly enter while comprehending the Great Tao. Finding an ordinary person who can be enlightened once is already burning incense to thank heaven and earth, even those monstrous geniuses, super geniuses, in their entire lives. I'm afraid they can only be enlightened 2 or 3 times." Tuvan remembered the scene of his father being trampled on by a soldier. He did not dare to fight back but only resigned himself to kneeling and letting the soldier run wild. There were many people standing around watching. Tuvan only dared to stand in a corner of the wall. Tuvan looked at the heartbreaking scene and unconsciously called out, "Father." He thought, being a fallen noble in a declining small country, in the past 19 years. "I have seen many things because of insufficient strength, but I have bowed down and lost all dignity." Tuvan's lips slightly curled up, he frowned, his eyes filled with hatred, he thought, "But, starting from today." Then he looked at the other people climbing the stairs ahead, he said, "Climb up, you extras." Tuvan used his arrogant eyes, he smiled and said, "With this enlightenment system by my side, don't anyone try to stop me, even if it's heaven." But a loud voice interrupted him, "Hey, look, what is that? It's so big." What that person was talking about was a giant bell floating in the sky. Everyone below was looking up at the giant bell. Tuvan couldn't help but ask, "Huh?" Suddenly the bell fell to the ground. It impacted the ground, creating a large tremor. The sound that the giant bell emitted caused everyone to cover their ears, some even screamed, "Ah." After the tremor ended, everyone stared at the bell. One person wondered, "Bell?" Another person said, "The sound of the bell just now, it feels like even my internal organs and soul were about to shatter." Another person also curiously asked, "What is this?" Tuvan was also surprised by the scene before his eyes. He widened his eyes, opened his mouth and thought, "Oh my god, I was just saying that, heaven, you don't have to take it seriously." A man with long sideburns appeared. He stroked his beard and said with a smile, "Everyone, don't panic." The man reached out and introduced, "This object is called the Chaos Bell. It's the divine weapon of the Chaos Great Emperor, the founding ancestor of our Holy Land of Chaos. This bell ranks among the divine weapons throughout the world. It's ranked 3rd, and as long as you can ring it once, it's considered passing the entrance examination of our sect." Standing next to the man was an old man with white hair. Everyone was listening attentively, some even knelt down to salute. But then the bearded man said something shocking, "However, if you underestimate the sacred object of our Holy Land of Chaos because of that, it will only lead to your complete failure. The test of this bell is extremely strict. If your aptitude is ordinary, you will be immediately teleported out of this place, and you will never be allowed to join our Holy Land of Chaos." The candidates who came here were surprised. They seemed annoyed and asked, "What?" A black-haired candidate turned to look at a brown-haired person next to him. He showed a very friendly expression then said, "Brother. Such an opportunity, I'll let you go first. What do you think?" The brown-haired candidate replied, "Brother, you go to hell, I won't die, brother." "Ah, big brother, I was wrong." The black-haired candidate angrily shouted, "Damn it, brother, you're so shameless. The bearded man didn't seem satisfied with the candidates today. He stroked his mustache and said, "Sigh, it seems that today will be another fruitless day." The white-haired old man next to him continued, "Our dignified holy land of chaos has actually fallen to the point where we can't even find one qualified genius." The bearded man closed his eyes and said, "Let's end it quickly, I still have to go back and nourish my beard." But because he used too much force, he accidentally pulled off a row of his mustache. Holding the severed mustache in his hand, he shouted in panic, "What?" But suddenly, the sound of a bell rang out. Everyone looked up at the bell in astonishment. A candidate couldn't believe his ears. He said, two rings." The bearded man forgot about his broken mustache when he heard the bell. He said, "No, it's 3 rings. Who could have rung the bell 3 times? The bell didn't seem to want to stop. 2 more rings rang out. Fu Lin bowed down to look at and said, "Master, the chaos bell has rung 5 times." The theme was still meditating peacefully. He said, "I know." The Holy Lord was standing somewhere at this time. His face was wrinkled in surprise. He was looking up at the sky and listening to the bell. He thought the chaos bell rang 6 times. No, it's 7 times. Finally, someone has been able to ring the chaos bell more than 5 times. From inside a room with a large coffin, it was introduced as the tomb chamber of the ancient elder. The bell also seemed to be affecting the coffin. Someone said, "The 8th ring, this person." Who is this person? Standing in front of the giant bell was none other than Tu Van. Everyone was staring at him but no one dared to say anything. The bearded man and the white-haired old man widened their eyes as much as they could. He shouted, this kid, who is he? Wait, he still has the strength to ring the bell, so doesn't that mean? Before the man could finish his sentence, Tu Van struck the bell once more. His punch hit the bell with great force. The giant bell was once again subdued by him. It emitted a bell sound that echoed throughout the surrounding space. Someone shouted in astonishment, "All 9 rings." A bony hand pierced straight through the coffin. A voice rang out, "Who is it?" A ghost with the upper half of its body a skeleton pushed open the coffin lid and crawled out. The ghost cried out, "Who is it? Who can ring the chaos bell 9 times? Not only that ghost, but there were countless other skeletons that looked like it were looking up. These skeletons seemed to want to escape from this dark space. The ghost said, "There is such an outstanding talent, I must take him under my wing." Tu Van sighed, "Phew." Tu Van was still standing still in the bell-punching position from earlier, he thought. The feeling after enlightenment is really different, it's like being reborn. The space around Tu Van at this time, no one else could be seen, only skeletal ghosts were staring at him in a dark space. He raised his hand and smiled, thinking, this feeling is just one word, awesome. Tu Van stood confidently in front of the bell. He looked at his hand and said, "Washing the tendons and changing the marrow." Someone shouted, "The chaos bell has bestowed its blessing again." The bearded man forgot his dignity. He knelt down at Tu Van's feet and said amicably, "The welcoming elder of the Holy Land of Chaos greets the divine son." He thought to himself, ha, I can actually welcome a divine son. I'm about to make history in the sect. The other people who saw the scene before their eyes seemed to have completely changed their attitude. There were no more noisy shouts, only exclamations. One person said, 9 rings, divine son, someone actually managed to do it. To be able to see this scene, this old man dies without regret. Another person continued, the other 5 great holy lands all have divine sons. Only the Holy Land of Chaos didn't. This time we finally have a divine son. Another person said, I can see that this person has the makings of a great emperor. Tu Van turned his face away to avoid. He scratched his head embarrassingly and stammered, that elder, isn't this a bit exaggerated? The elder still bowed his head and refused to stand up with all due respect. He said, not at all. The divine son status is equivalent to the Holy Lord. This old servant doesn't dare to be disrespectful. Suddenly, from the beginning, the Holy Lord of Chaos appeared in a dazzling manner. He walked and said, after all these years, the Holy Land of Chaos has finally waited for this day. The other people saw him and knelt down to show their respect. They said, greetings, Holy Lord. He didn't pay much attention to the presence of others. The person he was looking for was Tu Van. He looked at Tu Van and said, the divine son doesn't need to salute. Follow me. The great experts of the Holy Land are all waiting to accept disciples. Tu Van smiled and replied, yes. Tu Van at this time, his face was full of patience. He thought to himself, I thought I had to start from the bottom when I rang the bell using 1 enlightenment. I didn't expect to go straight to the top. Then the system also displayed a notification, congratulations, you have obtained 3 enlightenments. It can be used at any time, refreshing the task. In the Chaos main hall at this time, the sky outside had begun to turn into the color of dusk. The gentle breeze blew the leaves on the trees down, creating a very peaceful scene. There was a voice from inside the hall, "Tu Van." It seemed that at this time everyone was standing on the highest floor of the hall because they could see the sky here. Many people were gathered here. A voice introduced these supreme elders, patriarchs. These fossilized bones all want to accept you as a disciple. In addition to those people, there were even skeletons here. They could be elders who had died but had been revived when they heard Tu Van ringing the bell. The person continued, "However, choosing who to follow is your freedom. We will not force you." Tu Van clasped his hands together. He said, "Yes, Holy Lord." Tu Van thought to himself in surprise, there are even fossilized bones. Some of the candidates stood in the distance looking at him and scrutinizing him. The brown-haired one said, "Strange, the Divine Son feels very ordinary. He doesn't have a special physique, nor does he look like a reincarnated expert." The black-haired one next to him said, "You think too much. The person who can make the chaos bell ring 9 times. How could he be someone you and I can see through?" A pink-haired one added. "That's right. Except for the ancestor. No one else has been able to do it." A tall and mighty supreme elder looked at Tu Van and laughed. Lightning flashed from his body. He folded his arms and introduced himself. "I am Supreme Elder Lumaine. My thunder god art can summon heavenly tribulation. Its power is unmatched. Divine Son, are you willing to take me as your master?" Seeing this, the people outside couldn't help but exclaim. A Supreme Elder actually wants to accept the Divine Son. How delusional. Another person with a super long beard standing next to Supreme Elder Lumaine quickly introduced himself. "Divine Son. I am Patriarch Bu Dai. My undying demon art can make the body immortal and indestructible." Tu Van looked at them, not knowing what to say. There was one with extremely eerie bone-covered skin. He even had a knife stuck in his head. He said, "What's a patriarch?" "I am the Tau bone fossil. My cultivation is overbearing. It can make one invincible." Another one below the Tau bone fossil. This one was also very thin but still had the signs of a human. He said, "Tau bone fossil, you're still too young. Why not worship me, the wood patriarch, as your master, cultivating my wood god art? You can control 10,000 trees." There was another one right under the wood patriarch's arm. This one only had bones left, but his palms and sharp claws were still visible. He said, "Why not become my disciple? The ancient bone fossil." Tu Van looked at them with a stunned expression. He opened his mouth wide and thought, "Oh my god, they're really fossilized bones. But each of them seems very powerful. Who should I choose?" While he was lost in thought, Elder Dathine appeared right behind him. He said, "Divine Son, this old man is Supreme Elder Dathine. Although my cultivation is not stable, but I cultivate the chaos scripture. It can forge a chaos body that is the best in the world. The Emperor's throne is also within reach." Tu Van was startled by the voice. He involuntarily turned his head to look. Suddenly, the system panel appeared with the content of the latest task. "Choose Dathine as your master. Reward 5 enlightenments." Tu Van asked in a daze, 5 times. Tu Van quickly put his hand on his chin. He smiled with delight and thought. So what's there to hesitate about? Of course it's. Then Tu Van cupped his hands together. He said, "Seriously, patriarchs, bone fossils, this disciple is willing to worship Supreme Elder Dathine as his master and cultivate the chaos scripture." The people in the room were taken aback by him. None of them could believe their ears. They all widened their eyes and looked at him. One with a mustache said, "Ridiculous. The chaos scripture is too difficult to cultivate. No one except the ancestor has been able to master it." A bone fossil next to him continued. "That's right. Dathine only managed to make the chaos bell ring 6 times. He still hasn't been able to cultivate it to completion." The one with a mustache continued. "The chaos scripture requires enlightenment. You will harm the Divine Son." Dathine was a little hurt by these words. His face showed a hint of sadness. He said, "Just because I can't cultivate it to completion doesn't mean the Divine Son can't." Fu Lin, standing next to him, added, "Besides, don't forget, cultivating the chaos scripture can make you invincible at the same level." But the others were not convinced by these words. They said angrily, "I'm at the superfan realm and still haven't become a saint. What's the use of being invincible at the same level?" Another chimed in. "That's right. If the Divine Son can't become a saint either, wouldn't our holy land of chaos become a laughingstock?" The man who was angry continued. "That's right. If that's the case, our holy land won't be able to hold our heads up. Dathine was rendered speechless by these words. He thought to himself, this. At this time, Tuvan was still in the position of cupping his hands together. But then the system appeared with the content, give up the identity of the Divine Son. Reward. 10 enlightenment opportunities. Tuvan cursed inwardly, damn it, system, you're really playing for keeps, aren't you? Then he closed his eyes and accepted. All right. All right. I'm already dead anyway. He bowed and said, Patriarchs, bone fossils. This disciple is willing to give up the identity of the Divine Son and worship Dathine as his master. That way, even if this disciple cannot forge a chaos body, he will not bring shame to the Holy Land. Hearing him say this, Supreme Elder Lei Ming's jaw dropped. His face was full of astonishment. The Holy Lord of Chaos was the same. He looked at him with a puzzled expression. Dathine seemed to have a hint of sadness on his face. Then the room broke out of its silence. Everyone turned their eyes to Tuvan and shouted in unison. What? Everyone around was looking at Tuvan. They tried to persuade him. The Divine Son status is equal to the Holy Lord. Please reconsider. Another continued Divine Son. Please reconsider what you are giving up are the best cultivation resources. Someone in the distance also said, young man, don't be impulsive. Looking at Tuvan, 2 streams of tears were flowing down his face. He said, I boo-hoo. I don't want to give up either. It's the system that's forcing me. Then he ignored their words. He clenched his fists and said in a loud and dignified tone, Patriarchs, bone fossils. Please listen to this disciple's words. If this disciple can master the chaos scripture, then he will still be able to become the Divine Son very quickly. Conversely, it will only prove that this disciple is not worthy of this title. Therefore, please grant me my wish. Tuvan was cool for a moment. Then he wiped his tears and thought to himself, since I have to give up being the Holy Son anyway, I might as well pretend to be generous. The Holy Lord of Chaos at this time just smiled silently. Then he stretched out his hand and said with a smile, all right, if you've made up your mind, then as you wish. From today onwards, you are the disciple of Supreme Elder Dathine. Everyone is dismissed. And everyone heard the Holy Lord of Chaos say this. No one dared to object. They all turned around and left. One said, sigh, it's not easy to have a Divine Son. What a pity. Another chimed in. That's right. I thought this time we could finally rise up again. The person next to him replied, let it go. It's fate. Only Tuvan and Dathine were left in the room. Tuvan cupped his hands together and bowed before Dathine. He said, seriously, disciple Tuvan greets master. Dathine replied, hum. Then he put on a triumphant expression. The corners of his mouth slightly curled up in a smile. He said, since you trust this master so much, this master will definitely teach you everything in the remaining days. Tuvan was horrified. His face turned purple. He thought, what? The remaining days? I just became your disciple and you're already about to die? Are you kidding me? Then he asked with a pale face that, Master, how much time do you have left? Dathine closed his eyes and opened his mouth wide in laughter. He replied, Super Fan Realm cultivators only have 1,000 years of lifespan. This master is already 900 years old. Tuvan breathed a sigh of relief, thinking, phew, at least there are still 100 years left. After saying that, Dathine turned around and walked down the stairs. He said, let's go to my immortal mansion. Tuvan quickly replied, yes, master. Then he asked curiously, so what can master do to increase your lifespan? Dathine replied, breakthrough to the heaven realm. Your lifespan can be increased to 2,000 years. However, it's hopeless for me in this lifetime. Dafong was Dathine's residence. It was an extremely tall and grand celestial city. Dathine said, back then, this master was known as the strongest saint in the Holy Land, so there were really a lot of followers. Therefore, I built a lot of palaces. But when I couldn't break through, the followers also left one by one. In Dafong, there was also a place called the Spirit Beast Garden, which was underground with a small white door. There was another place called the Spirit Rice Field, which seemed to be larger than the Spirit Beast Garden. It was located on a high ground and had a small staircase leading up to it, looking like an abandoned temple. Tuvan said, it seems like all the buildings are empty. Then they arrived at the Dathine mansion, a grand hall that was not only tall but also very large. The Dathine mansion looked extremely magnificent, but contrary to its size, it was completely deserted, without the hustle and bustle of people. Dathine said, now there's only me and my servant, Fu Lin, left. The master and disciple arrived at their destination. They sat in a room on a large round rug. Dathine said, now that we're here, this master will explain to you the basic knowledge of cultivation. We cultivators have a total of 14 major realms. Then Dathine smiled and took out a piece of paper with scribbles on it, like a child's drawing. He introduced them one by one. Body tempering, chi gathering, divine bridge, celestial being, spirit sacrifice, awakening, out of body, nirvana, superfan, heaven, saint, great saint. Quasi-emperor, great emperor. Tuvan was dumbfounded, his face turned pale and he broke out in a cold sweat, thinking to himself, whether having so many realm names is good or not is one thing. This drawing is too brutal. Then Dathine pointed his index finger, on the tip of which a mysterious golden light emanated. He said, now this master will impart the chaos scripture to you, helping you enter the body tempering realm. Dathine placed that finger on Tuvan's forehead and said, become one with me. All things are not all things. It is difficult to describe with your eyes. The universe has its own principles. Tuvan closed his eyes and sat still, trying to concentrate. A golden vortex appeared on Tuvan's forehead, he thought, so this is the chaos scripture? It has 108 levels, it's truly profound and vast. I wonder what's the effect of enlightenment on the chaos scripture. Let's try it. Fu Lin walked in from outside, holding a box in her hand. She said as she walked, Master, I've chosen young master's clothes. I wonder how long it will take for young master to comprehend the first level of the chaos scripture, I'm so worried. Dathine opened the box and took out something that looked like ginseng from it. He looked at Fu Lin and said with a smile, don't worry, based on Tuvan's aptitude, it'll take him 3 days at most. I'll use this million-year-old ginseng to lay a solid foundation for him. I want to create a strong physique for him. Fu Lin said, back then, it took Master 7 days to comprehend the first level, which was already the fastest record. If young Master can't surpass it. But then suddenly, the box containing the ginseng fell to the ground. Fu Lin was startled by something, she covered her mouth with her hand and stammered, speechless, this. Seeing her like this, Dathine reminded her, Fu Lin, how old are you now? Why are you still so disrespectful? But then he himself was taken aback by the scene before him. He opened his eyes wide and shouted at the top of his lungs, oh my god. Tuvan was levitating in midair at this time. Surrounded by a halo of light, as if it had created a barrier separating him from the outside world. It was no wonder that Fu Lin and Dathine were so shocked. Fu Lin was still surprised. She stared unblinkingly and said, spiritual chi infusion. Young master has already comprehended the first level of the chaos scripture. Dathine was still in shock, his jaw still dropped. He broke out in a cold sweat as he tried to get a closer look. Tuvan was levitating in midair, his eyes closed in concentration. But in contrast to his cool exterior, he was laughing inwardly, hee, one enlightenment and I've already comprehended the first level of the chaos scripture, what are we waiting for? Bring it on, I still have 17 more enlightenments left. Fu Lin seemed worried, she turned to look at Dathine and said, Master, young master is still in enlightenment, could it be that he wants to take this opportunity to comprehend the second level? Dathine replied, I'm not sure, the second level, it took me a year. Suddenly, a lotus bud emerged from the ground, emitting a light similar to Tuvan's. Dathine exclaimed, this is the Earth Center Golden Lotus. The Earth Center Golden Lotus gradually grew taller and stopped when it almost touched Tuvan. The lotus bud bloomed, revealing its beautiful petals. Dathine still wore the same shocked expression, he said, the second level of the chaos scripture, my god. Fu Lin wasn't much better, she covered her mouth with both hands and said, Master, young master, it seems like he doesn't intend to stop there. Then a beam of light from the sky shone down, it pierced through the roof and shone directly on Tuvan. Tuvan also stood up, standing majestically in midair. This beam of light was called the Essence Refinement Light. Dathine saw this and said, the 9th level of the chaos scripture. Fu Lin was so happy that her eyes welled up with tears, she said, Master, this time we've really picked up a treasure. Perhaps in this lifetime, we can really witness the birth of a chaos body. Dathine looked up and replied with a smile, that's right, back then, I intended to break the record of my predecessors. Comprehending the 9th level took me 30 years. This is unbelievable. It's truly heaven-defying. It seemed that the holy land of chaos was also affected by this. The sky darkened, thunder and lightning struck endlessly. A blue light from the sky shone straight down to the ground. The other people couldn't help but be shocked when they saw this. They looked up at the sky and asked each other, what happened to Defong? One person replied, Defong, the divine sun is at that mountain peak. Another person retorted angrily, what divine sun? Didn't he give up his identity as the Divine Son? Now he's nothing. Another person also said angrily, pointing at the sky, that's right. Giving up such good resources, he's clearly an idiot. The Holy Lord of Chaos looked up at the lightning-filled sky, he said, Earth Center Golden Lotus, Essence Refinement Light, Define is really going all out to lay a supreme foundation for him. Sigh, what a pity, it's really a shame. There was a man named so kin to you, he was the disciple of Supreme Elder Tien Not. They were also shocked by this scene. So kin to you asked, Master, is that Supreme Elder Define refining to you Van's body? Supreme Elder Tien Not replied with a snort, Define is simply wasting his energy and time. That trash Divine Son can't cultivate the chaos scripture. So kin to you seemed angry. He frowned and cursed inwardly, it's all because of this to you Van, stealing my thunder. Besides him, only I managed to make the chaos bell ring 5 times. To you Van was still in a state of enlightenment, standing silently amidst the light. Define said, physical body golden light, to you Van has already reached the peak of body tempering. Fu Lin closed her eyes, she held the ginseng in her hand and said, all the treasures that Master prepared for building the foundation took 100 years to gather, isn't this a waste? Define looked at her and said with a smile, Tu Van has already built a supreme foundation, of course he doesn't need to use these. However, we can't waste them either. When the time comes for new disciples to enter, why don't you accept a disciple as well? It just so happens that they can be companions with Tu Van. Fu Lin, who had been lonely for a long time, now had the opportunity to find a companion. She immediately said happily, accept a disciple? Really? I'll go right away. After Fu Lin left, Tu Van also finished cultivating, he slowly landed on the ground. Tu Van quickly cupped his hands together and said, Master. Define replied with a smile, not seeing Fu Lin anywhere. Tu Van asked blankly, Master, where did Fu Lin go? Define reached out his hand and replied with a smile. Fu Lin felt it was a pity to waste the foundation building broth, so I asked her to go and choose a disciple. Quote, putting aside the matter of Fu Lin, Define looked at him with pride, he praised, my disciple, 9 levels in 1 day. You have reached the peak of body tempering, with a strength of 10,000 kilograms. Tu Van immediately replied, peak of body tempering? So won't I be able to enter the chi gathering realm soon? Define immediately denied his thought, he said, no, next, you have to stay in the body tempering realm and lay a solid foundation. Based on your talent, you need to reach the theoretical limit of each realm in order to truly dominate the world. Tu Van asked, then what is the limit of body tempering? Define smiled and replied, you have already reached the peak state before even cultivating combat skills. As long as you cultivate combat skills, you can enter the forbidden realm. Each time you increase your strength by 10,000 kilograms, it's called a forbidden level. 9 forbidden levels means you're a god. The only one who has reached the 9th forbidden level, with a strength of 1 million kilograms, is our ancestor, the Chaos Great Emperor. Tu Van was full of enthusiasm, he clenched his fists, his eyes flashing with determination, he said, then what are we waiting for, Master? Quickly teach me combat skills. Define looked at Tu Van and stretched out his hand, saying, don't be impatient, my disciple. Combat skills cannot be cultivated casually, you have to go to the sect's skill pavilion. The skill pavilion will automatically help you choose combat skills. Wait for Fu Lin to finish recruiting her disciple and for them to finish body tempering, we'll go together early tomorrow morning after the skill pavilion opens. Tu Van replied with a bright smile, as Master arranges. As the Master and disciple were chatting enthusiastically, Fu Lin walked in with a girl. This girl had a petite and delicate figure, her name was Lam Tuna. Fu Lin smiled and said as soon as she entered, congratulations to young Master for building a supreme foundation. Tuna, come and greet your senior brother. Lam Tuna looked at Tu Van with an innocent face and said, Lam Tuna greets senior brother. I heard that senior brother has given up the identity of the Divine Son. Hearing this, Tu Van was dumbfounded, he showed a puzzled expression. Lam Tuna didn't know that Fu Lin beside her was also very annoyed, she frowned angrily. Fu Lin's eyes were now red with anger, she shouted, you little rascal. Do you have to poke at other people's sore spots? Lam Tuna didn't pay attention to Fu Lin's words. She still looked very excited, she continued, may I ask, what does senior brother think of this? Lam Tuna was grabbed by the collar from behind. Fu Lin, with a murderous look on her face, threw Lam Tuna into a tub of golden water, she shouted angrily, go and build your foundation. Why are you talking so much? Lam Tuna screamed in fear as she was thrown by Fu Lin. Lam Tuna fell into the tub of water when she emerged. She sat still in the tub and looked up at Fu Lin with a mischievous smile, saying, yes, Master. Fu Lin stood aside, looking at Tu Na and said to Tu Van, consider this her good fortune. This was originally prepared for a young master. Tu Van, standing next to her, said, Tu Na has good talent. With the addition of the foundation building broth prepared over many years, she will surely reach the peak of body tempering soon. Hearing Tu Van's words, Fu Lin reminded Tu Na, since you've built your foundation, tomorrow you'll go with your senior brother to choose combat skills and strive to reach the peak of body tempering as soon as possible. Tu Na smiled brightly and said, I understand. The next day, at the skill pavilion, Tu Van walked in front, with Fu Lin and Tu Na following behind. Tu Na exclaimed in surprise, wow, there are so many people. Hearing Tu Na's words, Tu Van explained to her, because yesterday was the day for accepting new disciples, there are so many people here today. Normally, there are only this many people when there's a combat strength test or skill selection. Tu Van's arrival caught the attention of some people. One of them sneered, isn't that the divine son, Tu Van? He's here for the combat strength test too. Another one continued in a sarcastic tone, what divine son? He's just an ordinary disciple now. Another one even made fun of Tu Van, saying, I bet he can't even reach 30,000 kilograms of combat strength. I'll give him 2. He held up 2 fingers and continued, 2,000. Tu Na's eyes were filled with anger, she clenched her fists and shouted at them, Oomph! How dare you badmouth my senior brother? Just wait and see, I'll scare you to death. Tu Na looked at Fu Lin eagerly and said, Master, let me go take the combat strength test with senior brother. Hearing this, Fu Lin just calmly replied, based on your senior brother's strength, there's no need for him to test. Tu Na ran over and hugged Fu Lin, acting coquettishly, Master, he doesn't need to, but I do. Please let me go. Seeing Tu Na pleading like this, she finally relented, alright, go ahead. Tu Na walked over to where everyone was gathered and saw a young man. He clenched his fist and punched something, a green aura emanating from his body. The object he punched glowed green and displayed a number of squares. He had punched 7 squares. When he saw the result, he praised himself, 50,000. I'm truly a genius. It turned out that he was the disciple of Supreme Elder Tien Not, named Chu Ben. Tu Na looked at him with disdain and said, isn't it just 50,000 kilograms? What's there to be so arrogant about? I can do it too. Everyone who heard her words immediately tried to dissuade her, little girl, don't talk nonsense. 50,000 kilograms of strength is already considered great completion of the body tempering realm. Only a few geniuses can achieve such strength after building their foundation. That's right, little girl, where did you come from? You don't even have basic knowledge. Chu Ben looked down at Tu Na with contempt and said, I recognize you. You're Lam Tu Na, the one who only managed to ring the chaos bell 3 times yesterday. I rang it 4 times. With your meager talent, you dare to boast like this? You should be ashamed of yourself, it's utterly ridiculous. Tu Na was not afraid at all. She stepped in front of Chu Ben, who was looking at her mockingly, and said, what's so great about 50,000 kilograms? Tu Na clenched her fist, a golden aura appeared. She said with a determined expression, I'll show you. Tu Na punched the strength measuring device with her powerful fist. A powerful punch landed. On the strength measuring device, the number 30,000 appeared. Chu Ben said with an unreadable expression, Humph, how arrogant. I'll wait for you to get slapped in the face. Suddenly, the strength measuring device lit up. Chu Ben was stunned, his eyes wide and mouth agape, his face pale. He was so shocked that he could only utter, holy crap, silver light. Everyone around was astonished. The light was so bright that they had to shield their eyes with their hands. They started discussing among themselves, look, it's silver light. This little girl has surpassed great completion of body tempering and entered the peak level. How is this possible? Such terrifying strength. On the strength measuring device, the number 60,000 appeared. Tu Na brushed her hands together and said with a cheerful smile, so, are you convinced now? Tu Van, standing below, smiled smugly, as expected of my junior sister, she's amazing. Chu Ben, with an unconvinced and annoyed expression, said, Humph, what's there to be smug about? You're definitely just like that Tu Van, relying on shameful tricks to achieve this strength. Tu Na retorted angrily, shut up, my senior brother is a one-of-a-kind genius. How could he cheat? Chu Ben spat on the ground in disdain and said, genius? I spit on that. He didn't give up and started badmouthing Tu Van, do you know how well the divine son is treated? Only a fool would give it up. He must have been stripped of his divine son title by the Holy Lord for cheating, and he's only saying he gave it up voluntarily to save face. The people around him started to chime in. Now that you mention it, that makes sense. Yeah, that must be it. To think that Tu Van is so shameless. Tu Van looked at Chu Ben and said to Fu Lin, it seems like this guy is intentionally targeting us. Fu Lin, standing behind him, reported, young master. This person is the disciple of Supreme Elder Tian that, who is at odds with master. They are like fire and water. Tu Van's expression turned serious, so that's how it is. Suddenly, a young man with purple hair appeared. He said arrogantly, very well, I'll let you see what a true, one-of-a-kind genius looks like. He flew down from the stands. The people around were surprised and started discussing, it's So Kin too. Yesterday, apart from Yin Xiao, he was the only super genius who managed to ring the bell 5 times. I heard that his master, Supreme Elder Tian that, is about to break through to the heaven realm. Judging by his aura, he has definitely reached the peak of body tempering. He looked at Tu Van arrogantly and said, Tu Van, watch closely. So Kin 2 punched the strength measuring device with full force. Everyone around exclaimed in surprise, whoa, 90,000 combat strength. The people around showered So Kin 2 with praise and admiration. This is already the peak of the body tempering realm. Reaching the peak of body tempering in just one day, he truly is a heaven-sent genius. So Kin 2 stood there, basking in everyone's praise. He turned around with a smug smile and said modestly, you flatter me. I'm nothing compared to senior brother Tu Van and his 9 rings. Senior brother Tu, come on up and let everyone witness your strength. Hearing this, Tu Na, standing next to him, grabbed Tu Van's hand and said, senior brother, come on up and let these low-level fools see what you're capable of. Tu Van just smiled humbly and said, one should always be modest. Suddenly, Tu Van's eyes widened. He was in a different space. The system displayed a notification. Mission, shock everyone present. Reward, 3 enlightenments. This mission can be stacked indefinitely. Seeing this, Tu Van smiled and said, well, it's not like I can't show off a little when necessary. Back in the real world, Tu Van just smiled slyly and thought, this mission is a bit unorthodox. Isn't this basically asking me to show off? So Kin 2 saw Tu Van standing still and taunted, what's wrong? Scared? If you're scared, just kneel down and call me Grandpa 3 times. Tu Van just smiled and replied, why wouldn't I dare? You think I'm afraid of you? After speaking, a blue light surrounded Tu Van in front of everyone's eyes. So Kin 2 was so surprised that his jaw dropped. Tu Van appeared behind So Kin 2. Suddenly, Tu Van shouted, then open your dog eyes and see clearly. He powerfully swung his fist at the scale. Seeing that, So Kin 2 froze in place, his face turning pale. He couldn't believe what was in front of him. A powerful light enveloped the surrounding space. The scale glowed gold and had a swastika on it. Everyone around saw that. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. They couldn't believe their eyes and immediately started chattering, oh my god. It's the golden light of the extreme realm. How could he reach the extreme realm of body refinement in just one day? Oh my god, this is truly a 1 in a million talent. Could it be the reincarnation of an ancient sage? The system rang. Mission complete. Reward. 3 enlightenments. Tu Van smiled and said to So Kin 2, from now on, call me Grandpa. So Kin 2 was bewildered by the scene just now. He could only put on an unwilling expression and shouted, damn it. How did it turn out like this? Everyone there at this time couldn't help but be surprised and rushed to discuss. Some people admired, as expected of a former god, amazing. Others whispered, so Kin 2 has lost face this time. Tu Na ran over and hugged Tu Van's arm. Her eyes narrowed in a smile as she praised her senior brother, hee hee. I knew my senior brother is the best. The 2 siblings happily walked away from the scene arm in arm, leaving So Kin 2 standing there stunned. Everyone continued to gossip and mock So Kin 2, wondering how he would clean up this mess. Look at his expression, it seems like he's about to unleash a big move. So Kin 2 refused to accept being humiliated, he frowned, his teeth clenched, and said angrily, if that's the case. So Kin 2 jumped up and charged towards the 2 siblings. So Kin 2 was walking without paying attention. The people behind him saw this and shouted, look, So Kin 2 is about to make his move. Surprisingly, things didn't go the way they thought. So Kin 2 suddenly sped up and ran away from the scene, leaving only one sentence, I'm out. The people who were left behind could only stare with their mouths agape, speechless. Fu Lin observed that it was getting late and spoke up to remind them, let's go, young master, it's time. Tu Van responded and said to Tu Na, let's go into the spirit palace. Inside the spirit palace, a shimmering and beautiful barrier appeared in the sky. The wind blew, causing leaves to flutter and fall everywhere. In the courtyard, the disciples were gathering and walking back and forth. The scenery was very poetic. Seeing this scene, Tuna's eyes lit up and she couldn't help but exclaim, "Wow, it's so beautiful." Tu Van also agreed, "Yes, it's really beautiful." Inside the barrier, figures began to appear, representing the ranks from the outside to the inside, from low to high. Including the lowest being third flow, then second flow, first flow, peak level, super level, and finally the highest, supreme. At this moment, Tu Van spoke up clearly and explained, "Everyone, close your eyes, keep your minds clear, and wait for the spirit palace to choose fighting skills for you." Everyone standing there began to follow his instructions and looked up at the spirit palace. Above them, behind the spirit palace, the elders were observing the situation and discussing with each other. De Tien, surely with Tu Van's talent, he will be granted super-level fighting skills. Hearing that, Supreme Elder Tien Not spoke up with disdain, "De Tien, this generation cannot enter the heavenly realm, and neither can his disciples. So what if he has some achievements?" De Tien was not willing to sit idly by. He clasped his hands together, forcing a smile on his face, and retorted, "Just because I can't, doesn't mean my disciple can't." Another elder interrupted the conversation, "Stop talking nonsense, that Tu Van seems to have been given third-flow fighting skills." Hearing that, De Tien's face showed doubt. He stared intently at the situation and defended his disciple, "How can he only get third-flow fighting skills? How can it be? My disciple has a 1 in a million talent." In one day, he comprehended 9 levels of the Chaos Scripture, and his spiritual body refinement entered the extreme realm. The Supreme Elder naturally didn't believe it. His face showed contempt, 9 levels in one day? You're joking, right? Then he firmly asserted, "Unfortunately, I see it clearly. It's definitely third-flow fighting skills, no doubt about it." Tu Van reached out and received the third-flow fighting skill scroll from the Spirit Palace. He couldn't help but wonder, third-flow fighting skills? Does the Spirit Palace think so lowly of me? The others saw the scene and immediately started gossiping, doubting his strength. Third-flow fighting skills? It seems that Tu Van is all talk and no action. Someone immediately concluded, "I guess Elder Dathin used heaven and earth treasures to push him to the extreme realm of body refinement." Tuna stood behind them, hearing them say such things, her face showed worry. She looked at Tu Van and called out, "Senior brother." Tu Van was not willing to accept such a result. He was determined, his lips pursed. His eyes looked at the Spirit Palace and declared, "If that's the case, I'll let you see my true strength." After saying that, he raised his hand with all his might. Tu Van stretched out his hand. His expression determined, his eyes fierce, and said to the Spirit Palace with imposing aura, "You don't need to judge my talent. Bring out the strongest fighting skill, I will prove my talent to you." Seeing Tu Van's actions, the other disciples there kept criticizing, "Is he crazy? Demanding fighting skills from the Spirit Palace? I think he's an idiot. How is that possible?" Tu Van stood there, waving the third flow scroll from the Spirit Palace. His junior sister didn't say a word, they continued to sympathize, "That's right, what does he think the Spirit Palace is? Making a fool of himself." Witnessing this whole scene, Supreme Elder Thean Not's expression turned serious as he pondered, 9 levels of the Chaos Scripture in one day, extreme realm of body refinement. Thinking of this, he was moved and decided to give Tu Van a chance. "Forget it, give him a chance. I want to see how he proves himself." Immediately, countless rays of light shot out from the Spirit Palace, flashing and falling down as another fighting skill scroll. At this moment, everyone was shocked. "Wow, he really got a fighting skill. It's a super-level fighting skill." All those who were mocking him just now turned to disbelief and admiration. "What's going on? Amazing." Tu Van stood there and caught the scroll, but he didn't seem satisfied with the result. He said, "Why isn't there a supreme fighting skill?" Hearing this, Supreme Elder Thean Not let out a scornful laugh, propping his head up with one hand and judged, "He doesn't even know about supreme fighting skills and still acts so arrogantly, truly deceiving the world." Instead of laughing at his disciple's naive thoughts, Thien patiently explained, "Disciple, after learning super-level fighting skills, one needs to comprehend stronger moves on their own, which are the supreme fighting skills." Answering his disciple's previous question, he said, "Therefore, it cannot be granted." Thien's figure only appeared behind the Spirit Palace now. Tu Van couldn't help but ask in surprise, "Master, why are you here?" Countless super-level fighting skill scrolls surrounded Tu Van. Thien urged, "Hurry up and choose a fighting skill, just one. Even super geniuses need more than 10 years. Tu Van was not satisfied with his master's instructions and replied with a forced smile, "Then you underestimate your disciple." He had no intention of listening to his master. He waved his hand, a flash of lightning passed, and he declared loudly, "Then I'll choose 6 first." The elders above, including Dthien, were stunned by Tu Van's actions, speechless for a moment. After a while, they continued to discuss. Supreme Elder Thien Not was the first to exclaim, "Oh my god, is his brain filled with water?" The others also echoed in disbelief. 6? Crazy, he's really crazy. 6? Even the Holy Sun would need 100 years for that. This is ridiculous. An elder who was excitedly watching the drama below spoke up, breaking the conversation. "Stop making noise and look. That Tu Van seems to be cultivating super-level fighting skills right here." Below, witnessed by everyone and encouraged by his junior sister Tuna, "Go for it, senior brother." Tu Van sat down and focused on the scroll. Each page of the book emitted a sparkling light. As Tu Van cultivated, he thought and calculated. Earlier, to their surprise, he had gained 6 more enlightenments, for a total of 24. His eyes showed satisfaction as he smiled slightly and said, "Not bad at all." Then he used the system with his mind. System, use 1 enlightenment for the 9 transformations Tyrant Fist. Supreme Elder Thien Not still couldn't believe what was happening before his eyes. He turned to Dthien and taunted, "Cultivating on the spot? Are you kidding me? That super-level fighting skill? Even an unparalleled genius needs many years. Dthien, your disciple seems to have a mental problem." Dthien stood there, observing the situation. Suddenly, a shout came from somewhere, "Ah!" Dthien appeared calm and collected on the outside as he immediately declared, "Nothing is impossible." He defended his disciple. Tu Van is not the kind of person who deceives the world. Perhaps he really can grasp it. But his inner thoughts were the complete opposite. His face was pale, breaking out in a cold sweat. His index fingers touched each other. His expression couldn't be more worried. He even seemed to doubt his own words. He had just spoken with such confidence about his disciple. "My good disciple, don't make a fool of me." The secret manual floated in midair in front of Tu Van, along with a series of pages with shimmering images of techniques flying around him. He closed his eyes, crossed his legs, placed his hands firmly on his thighs, and focused on cultivating. He suddenly opened his eyes. Their color had changed from black to bright gold. The onlookers were equally nervous, their eyes wide, their mouths agape. He opened his eyes. Could it be that he's finished cultivating? Tu Van remained seated in the same posture, his eyes closed. A beam of dazzling light emanated from above his head, taking the shape of the 9 transformations Tyrant Fist technique. A voice rang out. "First transformation, complete." Everyone there was astonished, their jaws dropped. From his junior sister to Supreme Elder Tien Not and even Dthien, they were all shocked by the sight of golden light and body refinement. They couldn't believe that the first transformation of the 9 transformations Tyrant Fist was completed in such a short time. Tu Van opened his eyes. His pupils returned to their normal black color. His gaze sharp as if he was about to say something. Without intending to stop there, Tu Van closed his eyes again and resumed his cultivating posture. A glowing ribbon of the secret manual still surrounding him. He spoke to the system. "System, use 1 more enlightenment for the 9 transformations Tyrant Fist." His actions took everyone from one surprise to another. Before they could get over the shock, they had to prepare for the next one. Supreme Elder Tien Not speculated with doubt. Could it be that he's continuing to cultivate the 2nd transformation? A ribbon of techniques appeared more clearly, connected like a film. After a moment, Tu Van changed his posture, slamming one hand into the ground and raising the other to the sky. The movement caused everything around him to explode. A powerful golden energy like flames surrounded him. The ground and rocks shattered and flew away. It was the 9th transformation of the 9 transformations Tyrant Fist. Tu Van smiled with satisfaction, his eyes shining brightly. He spoke as he contemplated his next move. My strength has increased to 200,000 gene, and the number of enlightenments has increased to 27. Time to go out and test it out again, and earn some more enlightenments." Supreme Elder Tien Not was still astonished from beginning to end. His mouth remained agape, but he didn't dare to say anything more. He only thought to himself, he really cultivated to completion. This Tu Van is a monster. Finished with his thoughts, he turned to Dthien. So angry that his eyebrows furrowed, his teeth gritted. He stormed off with a huff, leaving Dthien sitting there. The other elders also got up and left one after another. Dthien was nervous too. He felt like he had just escaped danger by a hair's breadth and hurriedly took out a handkerchief to wipe the sweat off his face. His eyes narrowed into a smile. His heart bursting with pride for his disciple. He couldn't help but sigh with relief. Luckily, taking this disciple was way too easy. The full moon illuminated DTN's residence. A rich aroma wafted from a room, and a voice rang out, "It smells so good." "Master, are you almost done?" Immediately came the reply, "Done, done, you gluttonous little cat. Of course I wouldn't leave you out." It turned out that the aroma came from plates of beautifully arranged roast pork and roast lamb. There were also salads and shrimp arranged around them. On the table, there was also a plate of roast chicken and a giant chicken leg. Tu Van and DTN had already taken their seats. Tuna and Fu Lin were standing in front of the sumptuous feast, the four of them preparing to enjoy the meal together. A large piece of meat was about to be stuffed into Tu Van's wide-open mouth. After what happened today, he must be starving and need to replenish his energy. So he didn't hold back and picked up the chicken leg to eat first. Seeing this, little sister Tuna, who was standing beside him with a chicken leg 1/10 the size of Tu Van's in her hand, looked at him in surprise and said, "Senior brother, isn't that a bit much?" Tu Van narrowed his eyes, his cheeks puffed out as he still tried to stuff the chicken leg into his mouth, eating nonstop. A series of gulp, gulp, gulp sounds rang out, followed by a burp. On the table, only animal bones remained. All the meat had miraculously disappeared. Needless to say, it was Tu Van's handiwork. He had eaten the entire table of food and was still licking his lips, his round belly several times its original size. He innocently asked his master, "Master, why did I eat so much?" The theme replied, "Because your body has become stronger, it needs a lot more energy. Now that you have the strength of 200,000 gene, it's like having the bodies of 20 large men. Naturally, you need more food." Tu Van's face showed doubt as he asked again, "Oh, so I'm not a bottomless pit?" The theme, with a serious expression, held up a page of something and explained, "Each super-level fighting skill, when cultivated to completion, can increase one's combat power by 100,000 gene. However, only 3 skills have this effect." On the page was written, Super Level Fighting Skill 1 increase 100,000 gene, arrow, Supreme Fighting Skill 1 increase 100,000 gene. Super Level Fighting Skill 2 increase 100,000 gene, arrow, Supreme Fighting Skill 2 increase 100,000 gene. Super Level Fighting Skill 3 increase 100,000 gene, arrow, Supreme Fighting Skill 3 increase 100,000 gene. Along with the theme's brief explanation, and when each super level fighting skill transforms into a supreme fighting skill. It also increases combat power by 100,000 gene, for a total of 700,000 gene. Therefore, for a person with an ordinary physique, the limit of combat power is 700,000 gene. Hearing this, Tu Van's expression turned blank, his eyes darkened. His mouth slightly ajar but not saying a word. He thought to himself, how should I tell master? His way of illustrating things. Then he asked aloud, so how can we reach the limit of 1 million gene? Dathine, who was picking the bones out of a piece of meat, replied with a gentle smile. The remaining 300,000 gene require a special physique, or by refining the body with superlative heaven and earth treasures. Understanding his disciple's thoughts, Dathine immediately added with a serious face. Even the Chaos Great Emperor achieved it by relying on the limits of the Chaos body. Tu Van, while gnawing on a piece of meat, said, the superlative heaven and earth treasures that Master mentioned must be very difficult to find, right? Dathine lightly slapped the table with one hand, causing the bones on the table to bounce and scatter. He looked up and continued, if you were the Holy Sun, the Holy Land would naturally bestow such treasures upon you. But now, it's definitely impossible. However, there's another place where you can obtain such treasures. Hearing that, Tu Van immediately stood up, his hands on the table, looking at his master and asking anxiously, where is it, master? Outside, the moon still shone brightly in the night sky. But a part of it was obscured by clouds. The gentle breeze continued to blow, causing the leaves to sway. Dathine was about to reveal the place. It is, he started to think of an image of a large black wain. A scene enveloped in blackness appeared, showing a set of giant sharp fangs with bright red blood flowing out and fire spewing from the creature's mouth. It was the image of a horde of giant, ferocious dragons, their faces fierce as they breathed fire, attacking under thousands of densely packed lightning strikes. Dathine revealed the place to be the dragon's lair war. Tu Van thought of the image of those giant, ferocious dragons breathing fire. His face couldn't hide his excitement as he asked, what's the dragon's lair war? It sounds amazing. Dathine, however, wasn't as enthusiastic. His unhappy expression made it clear that it wasn't a good place. He provided Tu Van with more information. Let me tell you, the true dragon's lair is a secret realm that opens once every 100 years. Amidst the swirling smoke, a massive foot with sharp claws was about to land. A giant dragon appeared in the cave. Its eyes seemingly wanting to devour all prey before it. It was an illustration of Dathine's words. Legend has it that the true dragon's lair is what a true dragon left behind before ascending. Only those who have reached the body refinement realm are allowed to enter. Countless years ago, cultivators used to obtain treasures from the true dragon's lair. Next was the image of a person standing at the entrance of the cave, witnessing a dragon opening its jaws wide, its tongue lashing out towards a lifeless person. The person's body was covered in bruises, their face pale, and the blood around their mouth had already dried. Dathine continued, but only those at the body refinement realm could enter, so very little is known about the true dragon's lair. However, there was one treasure that was brought out. The treasure was an object made of many scales, looking very precious. He explained in detail, that is to say, the purpose of the true dragon's lair is to temper the true dragon remnants within it. Because only through combat can those remnants evolve into the true body of a true dragon. A scene appeared showing 3 people below looking up at a fire-breathing dragon in the sky. Then came the scene of a person riding a dragon as if they had tamed it. Dathine revealed their other goal in the true dragon's lair. Not only are there superlative heaven and earth treasures, but there's also a chance to form a contract with a true dragon, making it your companion. It's called the Dragon Rearing Plan. Tu Van felt like he understood. His face lit up and he said, so, there are 3 benefits to the true dragon's lair. He listed them one by one. First, you can obtain and bring back heaven and earth treasures. Dathine spread his hands and continued. Second, slaughter the true dragon remnants, bathe in their blood, and evolve to a higher level. Third, capture a true dragon remnant. Fu Lin and Tu Na stood listening intently to their conversation. Tu Van continued to ask, so when will the true dragon's lair open? Dathine replied immediately, don't be impatient. The true dragon's lair will open in a year. Before that, you should focus on reaching your peak level. Because at that time, not only will there be several holy lands, but all the other cultivation forces with chosen talents will also participate. Tu Van gritted his teeth, his eyes showing determination as he agreed with Dathine, at the same time analyzing the current situation. Yes. The Taiso Holy Land has always had its eyes on us. None of the disciples sent there before have ever returned alive. That's why our Holy Land hasn't sent anyone there for many years. Fu Lin stood with her arms crossed, her face still serious, saying nothing. Meanwhile, Tu Na excitedly raised her hands and volunteered. I want to go with senior brother. Immediately, Fu Lin gave Tu Na a knock on the head. Her hand balled into a fist, her face furious as she scolded, you really have a knack for finding trouble, don't you? Tu Na was still dazed, her eyes wide, not understanding what was happening. Only managing to utter an eh. Dathine looked at Tu Na with a serious and gentle expression. And said, if Tu Van can train his body well and reach a combat power of 700,000 Jin before entering the true dragon's lair, it's fine for you to go with him. Tu Van, with a confident face and determined eyes, replied, this disciple will definitely try his best. Tu Na was overjoyed to hear that she had a chance to participate, yay. That's great. The scene transitioned to morning. It was a beautiful day in Tian Not Peak, the sunlight bathing the village, mountains, and hills. A hand opened the lid of a jar, revealing 3 glowing pills inside. Supreme Elder Tian Not and his disciple were talking to each other. Supreme Elder Tian Not said with a smile, Kin Tu, this is the Enlightenment Divine Pill that I specially refined for you. You can only use it 3 times in your life, and it can grant you 3 opportunities for enlightenment. So Kin Tu's eyes lit up with joy as he reached for the pills. Supreme Elder Tian Not quickly picked up the 3 pills from the jar and handed them to So Kin Tu, instructing, you must work hard to level up and seize everything in the dragon's lair. So Kin Tu stretched out his hands to receive the 3 glowing yellow pills, overjoyed beyond words. He bowed deeply to the seated Supreme Elder Tian Not and said with gratitude, thank you for your guidance, Master. I will not disappoint you. Supreme Elder Tian Not simply replied, go on. As he walked out the door, he looked at the pill in his hand with a wicked smile. Looking like he was up to no good. After he had taken a few steps, a subordinate came to report to Supreme Elder Tian Not, Master, young Master has used the 3 Enlightenment Divine Pills. I'm afraid he won't be able to grow any further. He revealed his true intentions. The dragon's lair opens once every 100 years. As long as he brings back the treasures, that's all that matters. Looking at So Kin Tu's departing figure, he continued in a cold voice, devoid of any affection, his future doesn't matter. Supreme Elder Tian Not's expression changed instantly. Gone was the loving master from before, replaced by a glint of malice. With a scornful smile and his hand propping up his chin, he said, I'm not that fool to Tien, who only has 100 years left to live and still devotes himself entirely to his disciple. 3 days later at Difeng, a fishing rod hung over the tranquil turquoise lake. Tu Van sat leisurely on a bamboo chair, holding the fishing rod. Beside him was a tea table with refreshments. Suddenly, a sharp cry pierced the air, causing him to turn around to see what was going on. A clear, feminine voice pierced his eardrums. Senior brother, help! Seeing the scene before him, Tu Van's eyes widened, and he spat out the tea in his mouth, thinking, oh my god, you got to be kidding me. Behind him were his junior sister and her master. Holding his fishing rod, he craned his neck to listen to Fu Lin lecturing his junior sister, you're complaining about a little punishment? This medicinal bath and the pill you just ate are precious treasures. As she whipped her junior sister, who was soaking in a tub, with a riding crop, she continued. This is a special method to quickly temper your physique. His junior sister looked up with a disgruntled expression, her big, round eyes welling up with tears. The towel wrapped around her body was struggling to contain her ample bosom. Lin Tuna asked her master in a small voice, then why doesn't senior brother have to do it? Upon hearing this, her master's face darkened as if she was about to commit murder. The riding crop in her hand was raised. Ready to strike, you don't need to worry about that. If young master doesn't make a breakthrough soon, master will have her own ways of dealing with him. Just then, a shadowy figure appeared behind Tu Van. Her low, eerie voice sent shivers down his spine, and his face turned pale with fear. My dear disciple, 500 more lashes for you. He thought in horror, oh god, no way, I have to endure this too? As soon as the thought crossed his mind, he sat up straight on the chair, his hands facing each other. A spiral of energy appeared between his palms. Maintaining the same posture, he spoke to the system, use one enlightenment on the Tai Chi divine palm. A Tai Chi symbol appeared above his head immediately afterward. His black hair fluttered in the air, and the lake waters surged and splashed around him. On the other side, his junior sister and her master, Fu Lin, exclaimed, look, your senior brother has learned another super-level skill. His junior sister cried with tears streaming down her face, life's not fair. I have to be whipped. Take medicine day and night just to break through to the extreme realm, and senior brother gains 100,000 gene of combat power just by fishing. As soon as she finished speaking, her master whipped her again and scolded, less talk, more effort. If you don't want to hold young master back, then keep working hard. Lin Tuna flinched as the whip landed on her body and continued to scream for help, help. Senior brother, everything returned to how it was at the beginning. He continued fishing leisurely, while his junior sister kept screaming in the background, I don't want to go to the dragon's lair anymore. Master, please stop. Tu Van rested his chin on his hand, his legs crossed, and thought to himself, well, this is the consequence of not having a system. Keep it up, junior sister. A week later, a purple-haired man walked up the steps to a stone pillar with a giant sword embedded in its top. He confidently threw a punch at the stone pillar to test his combat power. The power pillar lit up, displaying the number, 190,000. He thought smugly, the Enlightenment Divine Pill really is good stuff. The people below were full of praise, so Qin Tu is truly a heaven-sent genius. He's already broken through to the extreme realm. Amazing, it's only been a few days, less than 10. Becoming the Holy Sun is within his grasp. A female voice from behind made him, who was enjoying the praise, turn around. It's just the extreme realm of body refinement. What's there to be smug about? Hearing his junior sister's words, So Qin Tu's expression darkened. His junior sister continued her attack, my senior brother reached the extreme realm long ago. In the distance, Tu Van, his junior sister, and her master walked over. So Qin Tu wasn't going to back down. He pointed at her and retorted. What does Tu Van's strength have to do with you? You're so weak, what's your combat power? 60,000? Or 70,000? Tu Van's junior sister puffed up her cheeks, showing her displeasure. She tapped her foot on the ground in preparation. Then, she leapt over So Qin Tu and landed in front of the stone pillar, taunting him, humph, acting all high and mighty. Watch and learn. With that, she threw a punch, gathering a surge of energy that slammed into the pillar. To everyone's surprise, the number, 170,000, appeared. Her punch was incredibly powerful. The onlookers were stunned once again. They couldn't believe that Lin Tuna had also reached the extreme realm of body refinement. Is it really that easy to reach the extreme realm? Another person chimed in, easy my ass. Besides those three, has anyone else even reached 90,000 gene of combat power? Nope, not a single one. Lin Tuna turned around, cupping her hands around her mouth and shouted, well? Surprised or what, senior brother, show them what you've got. Behind them, So Qin Tu was so angry that he was grinding his teeth. Tu Van smirked. He didn't bother going up to the stone pillar. He just stood where he was and unleashed a wave of energy. The blue energy, mixed with streaks of red light, shot past Sochin too. The stone pillar lit up, displaying the number 300,000. The whispers of the onlookers started again. He's leveled up again, terrifying. Wow, even a galloping horse can't catch up to him. Tu Van's expression stiffened slightly as he forced a smile, thinking to himself, I was just wandering around looking for more enlightenments and even learned a super-level martial skill. Today's been quite fruitful. Lin Tuna also praised, Senior brother, you're amazing. At this time, Fu Lin also spoke, congratulations, young master, on reaching 300,000 gene of combat power. Come here, master has a treasure for you. Hearing the word, treasure, Lin Tuna's eyes lit up. Treasure? Awesome. Hee, I love treasures. The three of them gathered together. Fu Lin opened a pale golden vortex. A blade gradually emerged from the vortex. As the entire blade was revealed, Lin Tuna exclaimed in surprise, this is the Black Iron Blade. Tu Van reached out with both hands excitedly, ready to receive the gift, not forgetting to thank his master. Thank you, master. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Tu's face stiffened. Before he could react, the heavy blade plunged straight into the ground, sending tiles flying. Fortunately, he managed to grab the hilt. Oh my god, it's so heavy. Fu Lin covered her mouth, trying to stifle her laughter. This is Master's weapon from when she was at the Chi Condensation in Divine Bridge Realms. It weighs 100,000 gene. She added, Master prepared this gift because she's afraid you're slacking off. She hopes it can help motivate you. Tu Van squinted, pouting, and cursed his master under his breath, 100,000 gene. It seems the revolution hasn't succeeded yet. I still have to work hard. He thought, next up, I need to master the Divine Wind Steps and the World-Breaking Pearl. At the main hall of the Taiso Holy Land, numerous floors rose majestically, creating an imposing sight. Inside the conference hall, a person reporting to the Holy Lord. News has arrived from the Chaos Holy Land. A super genius has emerged, striking the Chaos Bell 9 times. He became Dathine's disciple, and his current combat power has reached 300,000 gene. Seated high above, the Taiso Holy Lord rested his hands on his knees and spoke solemnly, so that's how it is. Elder Wan Yongwei, take 2 disciples with you to investigate. Observe this person before making any further plans. Supreme Elder Wan Yongwei bowed and accepted the order, yes, I obey your command, Holy Lord. He covered his face with his hand and chuckled sinisterly, Dathine, you relied on your superior strength to suppress me and humiliate me all those years ago. This time, I'll kill your precious disciple and make you suffer eternal despair. With that thought, he turned and strode away arrogantly. A few days later, at the Chaos Holy Land, Wan Yongwei arrived at the gates with 2 disciples, a male and a female. He announced loudly, Wan Yongwei of the Taiso Holy Land is here to visit the Chaos Holy Land under the Holy Lord's decree. A red-haired, middle-aged man came out to greet them, so it's fellow Taoist Wan, it's been many years. You haven't aged a day. The 3 of them approached the red-haired man. Wan Yongwei exuded a powerful aura. I see fellow Taoist Tiani's power is as impressive as ever. You're about to break through to the heavenly realm, congratulations. As expected of the second Supreme Elder. The Supreme Elder was a smooth talker, calmly replying, you flatter me, fellow Taoist. As soon as he finished speaking, the female disciple, Jia Yulong, who came with Wan Yongwei, crossed her arms and sneered. The second Supreme Elder still hasn't reached the heavenly realm. He wouldn't even be in the top 10 in our Taiso Holy Land. Chaos Holy Land is truly pathetic. The male disciple, Fu Yaotong, echoed her sentiment, belittling the Chaos Holy Land's Supreme Elder, that's right. And he's still so smug with such meager cultivation. No wonder they haven't dared to send anyone to the dragon's lair for so many years. Their words struck a nerve with the red-haired elder, leaving him speechless and fuming. Wan Yongwei smirked and feigned an apology, children always speak their minds. Don't take it to heart, fellow Taoist. How about we go see the Holy Lord? With that, he led his 2 disciples into the Holy Land. The red-haired elder suppressed his anger and gestured for them to enter, please. The red-haired elder gritted his teeth, thinking, when I get back, I'm going into seclusion and breaking through to the heavenly realm. Inside the grand hall, numerous people had gathered. Seated upon the main throne, the Chaos Holy Lord inquired, fellow Taoist Wan, what brings you here on this occasion? Wan Yongwei responded with an air of arrogance. I, Wan, am here under the Holy Lord's decree. Firstly, to invite the Chaos Holy Land to participate in next year's Dragon's Lair Pact. Secondly, I brought 2 juniors to spar with the talented disciples of your esteemed Holy Land. I hear you've discovered some promising talents this year. Surely they won't lose too quickly, right? That wouldn't be very interesting, would it? Wan Yongwei chuckled sinisterly. His eyes filled with disdain and contempt for the members of the Chaos Holy Land. The other elders in the hall were angered by his blatant disrespect and retorted. Wan Yongwei, you're going too far. Others chimed in, expressing their outrage. That's right, how dare you come here and act so rudely? Do you think we, the Chaos Holy Land, fear you? In response to their words, he simply smirked and retorted, what good are empty boasts? If you're not convinced, then bring out the so-called prodigies of your Holy Land. Very well, bring to Yuvan, so kin to you, and Lin to Yuna here. The Chaos Holy Lord calmly ordered his subordinates. He thought to himself, Tuvan should be able to win at least one match. A disciple responded, yes, Holy Lord. Seeing the Chaos Holy Lord's seemingly submissive attitude, Wan Yongwei smirked, knowing that they wouldn't dare to defy him. A moment passed, the atmosphere still seemingly tranquil as they awaited the arrival of the Chaos Holy Land's prodigies for the spar. They didn't have to wait long. Tuvan appeared, confidently striding into the hall. Wan Yongwei and his group turned their heads warily toward the entrance. Their attention and vigilance focused on the three individuals who had just entered. The three prodigies representing the Chaos Holy Land exuded an extraordinary aura. Their demeanors both refined and imposing. Fellow Taoist Wan, these three are Tuvan. So kin to you, and Lin to Yuna. How would you like to test their strength? The Chaos Holy Lord inquired calmly, his tone neutral, win or lose, it's all part of fate. Yulong, Yaotong. How would you like to spar with them? Wan Yongwei didn't answer, instead turning to ask his two disciples. The female disciple stepped forward, introducing herself, my name is Fu Yaotong. Ranked 10th among the body refinement realm cultivators in the Tai So Holy Land. It's more than enough for me to defeat the three of you alone. No need for my senior brother to bother. Hearing her insult, Lin to Yuna's temper flared, and she retorted, ranked 10th yet so arrogant? One would think you're ranked first. Fu Yaotong also became enraged, crossing her arms and replying arrogantly, 10th in the Tai So Holy Land is more than enough to crush the number one talent of your measly Chaos Holy Land. Seeing her increasing arrogance, Lin to Yuna immediately drew her weapon, a lightning whip. Such big words, let's see if your skills match your boasting. She slammed her whip onto the ground, ready for a fight. Fu Yaotong also drew her sword, since you're so eager to humiliate yourself, I'll gladly oblige. Come on. The atmosphere crackled with tension as the two enraged young women faced off. Their oars flared, each seemingly wanting to devour the other. Thousand Shadows, lightning whip. Lin to Yuna struck first, lashing out with her lightning whip at lightning speed. The whip danced and darted around, aiming to disorient her opponent and find an opening to strike a vital point. However, it seemed Lin to Yuna was too eager. Her attack was imprecise, and Fu Yaotong easily blocked it with her sword, sneering, such meager skills. Watching the two girls fight, with their clearly contrasting strengths, Yuvan sighed regretfully, junior sister is still too inexperienced. A few words are enough to make her lose her composure. Fu Yaotong's sword pierced through the air, breaking through the whip formation that Lin to Yuna had created around her. Taking advantage of her agile body and swift movements, Fu Yaotong dodged each lash of the whip, gradually closing the distance between them. And when she reached the perfect range, Fu Yaotong unleashed her one sword divides the world technique, nullifying the continuous barrage of the lightning whip. She successfully disarmed Lin to Yuna and held her sword to her neck. You lose. You couldn't even withstand one move. Truly disappointing. Despite her defeat, Lin to Yuna still refused to admit defeat. I may have lost, but you're definitely no match for my senior brother. Fu Yaotong scoffed, thinking that Lin to Yuna's senior brother was nothing special. She replied smugly, fine, let him come and try. Tu Yuvan calmly approached her, ready for the second round. Tu Yuna, step back. Senior brother will avenge you. He smiled gently, showing no fear or concern. He continued, I won't bully a girl from the Tai So Holy Land. You can take one step back, and I'll consider it your victory. Hearing this, Fu Yaotong became enraged. She swung her sword and shouted in anger, such arrogance. Take this. Tu Yuvan, however, was relishing the challenge. He raised one hand, deploying a formation, and thought to himself, after mastering the 9 transformations Tyrant Fist, Tai Chi Divine Palm, Divine Windsteps, and World-Breaking Pearl, I've been bored with no one to spar with. First, let's test the defensive power of the Tai Chi Divine Palm. Fu Yaotong was immediately pushed back by his aura. The defense is too strong. Again, she gritted her teeth, her composure fading as she grew frustrated. Unable to break through to Yu Van's defense. When he finally withdrew his formation. Waiting for her next attack, she charged at him again. Observing from the sidelines, Wan Yongwei said to Jia Yulong, he's mastered the Tai Chi Divine Palm. It seems Yao Tong will have a hard time breaking through his defense. As Fu Yaotong attacked Yu Van with all her strength, her sword technique seemed to evolve, becoming even more powerful. Jia Yulong, noticing her swordsmanship, exclaimed in surprise, huh? Junior sister's one sword divides the world. It's broken through to the formation level. Fu Yaotong's sword was now enveloped in a new layer of energy. With skillful movements, she unleashed her secret technique, aiming directly at him. The sharp blade clashed against the Tai Chi formation, both forces relentlessly colliding and pushing against each other, creating a powerful whirlwind. Lin Tu-na, watching anxiously from the sidelines, cheered, "Senior brother, you can do it." But the outcome seemed inevitable. Victory and defeat were clear, as Tu Van stood firm and unyielding, effortlessly blocking the attack with a single outstretched hand. Tu Van smiled, looking at Fu Yaotong. He was quite satisfied with the defensive power of the Tai Chi Divine Palm. She was thrown back, staring in disbelief at the Tai Chi formation. How is this possible? Tu Van remained motionless, his hand in the Tai Chi formation radiating an impenetrable force. He looked at the defeated Fu Yaotong, who had fallen to the ground. It seems Junior Sister's grudge has been settled. Junior Sister, step back. He must have entered the 3 forbidden domains. Seeing Fu Yaotong being thrown back, Jia Yulong quickly intervened. But Fu Yaotong refused to accept defeat against Tu Van. She struggled to her feet. Are all you people from the Chaos Holy Land only good at defending? If you have the guts, then defeat me. Otherwise, I won't concede defeat. Fu Yaotong shouted indignantly. Hearing this, Tu Van smiled readily, accepting her challenge. Fine, if she wanted to be beaten, then he would oblige. In a flash, Tu Van vanished. His speed too fast for anyone to see, closing the distance between them instantly. By the time Fu Yaotong realized Tu Van was right next to her, it was too late. She could only watch in shock as he struck. Tu Van channeled his power into his fist, striking her directly in the stomach. The force of the blow sent Fu Yaotong flying backward, coughing up blood. Junior Sister, Jia Yulong shouted, witnessing her being thrown back. He surged forward, transforming into a blur of red lightning. Jia Yulong caught Fu Yaotong just in time, helping her regain her footing. He pointed at Tu Van and said, "It was just a spar. You were too ruthless. I didn't attack, and she said I only knew how to defend. When I do attack, you say I'm ruthless. If you people from the Taizhou Holy Land can't accept defeat, just say it." Tu Van said boredly, picking his nose. His dismissive words enraged Jia Yulong. As he stepped forward, the stone floor cracked beneath his feet. Insolent. I am Jia Yulong, ranked 9th among the body refinement realm cultivators of the Taizhou Holy Land. I challenge you to a duel, senior brother. Lightning crackled around him, showcasing his intense anger, but he still addressed Tu Van respectfully as senior brother. Tu Van, however, was disinterested. He yawned lazily, "I'm tired after that last fight. I need a break. Looks like it's your turn." Tu Van turned and walked towards Lin Tu-na, leaving the stage to someone else. So Qin Tu's jaw dropped in surprise. Me? Forced into the spotlight, he had no choice but to accept the challenge. If he backed down out of fear, what would become of the Chaos Holy Land's reputation? However, he was still scared. Tired, my ass. You clearly sent that girl flying with one punch. Now this guy is pissed, and you're sending me to get beaten up? Jia Yulong, brimming with fighting spirit, said, "In that case, I shall experience senior brother So's expertise first." Come on. So Qin Tu was so terrified that he couldn't speak. Seeing him frozen in place, Jia Yulong became even more enraged and shouted provocatively, "What's wrong? Afraid to fight?" Tu Van must have done this on purpose. However, with so many people watching, he had no choice but to go for it. So Qin Tu was crying inside, but he had to maintain a calm facade. Afraid? Who's afraid? Let's fight. Senior brother, you're so cunning. So Qin Tu was about to get beaten up. Lin Tu-na, watching from afar, jumped for joy. Tu Van calmly explained, "Cunning? This is called being smart. You shouldn't be so impulsive in the future." After listening to his advice, she obediently replied, "Thank you for your guidance, senior brother." Observing the scene from his high seat, the Chaos Holy Lord couldn't help but smile in satisfaction. This kid Tu Van is not bad. He has the intellect worthy of cultivation. At that moment, Sochin Tu, unable to wait any longer, drew his sword. Gritting his teeth, he mustered all the courage he could summon for this fight. The Chaos Holy Lord, having already predicted the outcome, held no expectations. Just maintain your dignity, don't lose too badly. However, reality is often harsh. Sochin Tu charged recklessly, leaving himself wide open. Jia Yulong easily read his movements, quickly utilizing his special physique, transforming into a flash of lightning and dashing forward. Sochin Tu's sword was sent flying. He unleashed all his fury into this blow, punching Sochin Tu directly in the stomach, just like Tu Van had done to Fu Yaotang. Sochin Tu received the full force of the powerful attack, spitting out a mouthful of blood, his face contorted in pain and fear. Jia Yulong, not yet satisfied, poured more power into his strike, a powerful wave sending Sochin Tu flying like a ragdoll. As Lin Tu Na screamed in terror, Sochin Tu crashed into the wall where she and Tu Van were standing, shattering it into pieces. Even Tu Van gasped in surprise at the force of the blow. The lightning body again, so it's a special physique, no wonder he's so strong. With this power, he must be at the threshold of the 3 forbidden domains. The others in the hall were all astonished, their mouths agape as they witnessed his overwhelming strength. Even the Chaos Holy Lord couldn't help but admire his opponent's power, thinking enviously, ranked 9th and already possessing a special physique. The Tai So Holy Land truly is formidable. Having defeated Sochin Tu, Jia Yulong's anger still hadn't subsided after his junior sister was severely injured. He turned his gaze towards Tu Van, waiting for him to step forward. Tu Van continued to observe the lightning crackling around Jia Yulong, the words lightning body echoing in his mind. Sochin Tu, knocked unconscious with a single blow, lay motionless, his eyes rolled back, his mouth agape in dripping blood. He presented a rather pitiful and gruesome sight. The red-haired, bearded Supreme Elder used his magic to lift him up from afar, cursing angrily as he was humiliated. Trash, carried by the force. Sochin Tu flew awkwardly and erratically through the air before disappearing out of the reception hall. In a blink of an eye, Sochin Tu was flung into the sky, vanishing behind the white clouds. The lightning body, naturally gifted with control over lightning, possesses incredible speed and powerful attacks. Combined with the lightning fist, it's truly extraordinary. The Chaos Holy Lord complimented Jia Yulong's previous attack. But Wan Yongwei remained arrogant, boasting, "That's nothing. It's merely a king body. In our Taiso Holy Land, we have several divine bodies and one supreme body this generation." Supreme body? And who might that be? Hearing this, the Chaos Holy Lord couldn't maintain his composure and asked hastily, shifting in his seat. As if mentioning his most prized possession, Wan Yongwei solemnly uttered the most revered name in the Taiso Holy Land. Shi Kongji, ranked 4th on the supreme ranking. It's said that this physique can control both time and space. Indeed, it's rumored that any divine ability in his hands can unleash limitless power. The time-space supreme body? That's terrifying. Upon hearing about such a remarkable physique, the elders were both awestruck and anxious, discussing it amongst themselves. Tu then frowned, his teeth clenching with worry as he recalled Supreme Elder Dathing's words. Master said there are 3 levels of special physiques: King Body, Divine Body, and the 10 Supreme Bodies. The Chaos Body, the Devouring Heaven Demonic Body, the Innate Seg Body Tau Embryo, the Time-Space Body, the Primordial Indestructible Body, the Myriad Buddha's Body, the Desolate Ancient Saint Body, the Heaven-Piercing Tyrant Body, the God King Body, the Immortal King Body, the Tai-Yin Divine Body, the Tai-Young Divine Body, the Berserk God Body, the 5 Elements Divine Body, the Heavenly Demon Body. And others like the Lightning Body, the Profound Ice Body, and the Lesser Yang Body. Among the 10 Supreme Bodies, although the gap isn't significant, his Supreme Body being ranked 4th is definitely not easy to deal with. Tu then pondered seriously about this individual. But Gulon, unable to restrain his fury any longer, lightning crackling around him, asked impatiently, "Senior brother Tu, are you done resting yet?" Tu then chuckled, relaxed his body, and stretched his limbs, cracking his knuckles. "Thank you for your concern, junior brother. I'm all rested up." Gulon was even more infuriated at being called junior brother. "I was just being polite, you really think I consider you my senior brother?" Unable to contain his anger, he launched himself forward, shattering the floor beneath his feet. Extending his hand towards Tu Van, Gulong declared, "Then let's begin." Once again, Tu Van deployed the Tai Chi Divine Palm to defend against his opponent's attack. The Tai Chi formation expanded, trying to withstand the energy that Gulong unleashed. This time, the battle seemed more evenly matched. However, Gulong's power gradually overwhelmed Tu Van's defenses. Cracks started appearing in the protective barrier. As expected, his fist shattered through Tu Van's defense. Looking at Gulong's smug smile, Tu Van couldn't help but feel wary. As expected of a genius with a special physique, truly formidable. Gulong stepped back to regain his strength, radiating even more power. Instead of defending again, Tu Van channeled his power into his legs, ready to engage in a direct confrontation of speed and skill. They exchanged blows, but their speed was so incredible that neither could land a hit. Suddenly, they both paused, preparing to unleash a decisive attack. Tu Van frowned, a rare look of seriousness on his face. This time, he would use all his strength to his opponent. Gulong laughed with delight, his fist clenching tighter and exerting even more force. Tu Van's seriousness pleased him. That's more like it. He's going to meet force with force. A single strike to decide the winner. The red-haired, bearded elder watched with anticipation. The Chaos Holy Lord was also curious. Who will emerge victorious? Wan Yongwei, on the other hand, was silently cheering for his disciple. Gulong will definitely win. They both shot forward like lightning bolts, unleashing their full power and colliding with a deafening boom that shook the entire hall. The force of the impact sent them both flying back. Gulong stumbled backward, grunting in pain as he struggled to stay upright. Tu Van was also thrown back, but he managed to regain his footing despite the pressure. It seemed they were evenly matched. Jia Yulong, now injured, had blood trickling from the corner of his mouth, his face covered in dirt. But his determination remained unwavering. Again, he shouted, gathering his strength and charging towards Tu Van once more. Tu Van lowered his center of gravity, spreading his arms wide, ready to meet his opponent head-on. Bring it on! They exchanged blows relentlessly, their battle raging throughout the hall. Despite fighting for so long, neither showed any signs of stopping. Such powerful physiques. They both entered the 3 forbidden domains. But Tu Van seemed slightly stronger. The red-haired, bearded elder watched intently, not daring to blink for fear of missing something. Indeed, the lightning body's greatest strength is its speed. Fighting like this isn't very wise. Tu Van smiled as his opponent, becoming impatient, resorted to direct attacks. World-breaking pearl, Tu Van unleashed his attack. He struck Jia Yulong squarely in the face, sending him reeling. Jia Yulong's eyes widened in shock. This is the super-level fighting skill, World-breaking pearl. It can temporarily enhance physical strength. How is this possible? How does he know so many super-level fighting skills? Jia Yulong cried out in pain, his face bruised and swollen. But that wasn't all Tu Van had in store for him. After Tu Van unleashed a barrage of 9 transformations: Tyrant Fist, World-breaking Pearl, Divine Wind Steps, and Tai Chi Divine Palm. The Chaos Holy Lord couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. He managed to master 4 super-level fighting skills to completion in such a short time. As expected of the genius who struck the Chaos Bell 9 times. A dark-skinned man spoke up, and others began to express their amazement. He's too strong. With the World-breaking Pearl, Tu Van will surely win now. Wan Yongwei sneered. When? Don't be ridiculous. Do you think a king body is just for show? Watch closely. Back in the battle, Jia Yulong was retreating, preparing to launch his next attack. He said to Tu Van, "Don't get cocky. There's a saying, in all the martial arts under heaven, only speed is unbeatable." With that, he shot towards Tu Van like lightning. His eyes blazed, and his entire body crackled with lightning. As he charged, he declared, "Today, I will show you the true power of the lightning body." Just as he was about to reach Tu Van raised his hands. He deployed the Tai Chi Divine Palm, creating a barrier. Seeing this, Jia Yulong sneered. Oomph, naive. Before Tu Van could react, Jia Yulong had already moved to his side. Tu Van's eyes darted towards Jia Yulong as he launched his attack. He quickly dodged the attack and retreated. Gritting his teeth, Tu Van thought, special physiques are truly interesting. The battle resumed. Wan Yongwei, watching from the sidelines, said arrogantly, "Give up struggling. Mortals are like ants compared to a king body. This is fate." Electricity sparked from Tu Van's wrists. He looked at his opponent with determination and declared, "That's not certain. There's a saying, one must defy fate. I won't lose." In his mind, he spoke to the system. System, use 1 enlightenment on the Divine Wind Steps. As he thought, a series of fighting skills flashed through his mind. He looked at Jia Yulong and smiled confidently. Dang! After enlightenment, the super-level fighting skill Divine Wind Steps has evolved into the supreme fighting skill diagram Divine Steps. The system notification appeared. Jia Yulong looked at him with disdain and dashed forward. Tu Van, you're making me laugh. Defying fate? Even if I reveal the trajectory of the lightning body, can you even catch me? With that, he created countless afterimages surrounding Tu Van. Tu Van's eyes followed him as Jia Yulong glanced back. Suddenly, Tu Van reached out and grabbed Jia Yulong's hand. Jia Yulong stared at him in disbelief. Tu Van closed his eyes and smiled, "Thank you very much." Jia Yulong's face darkened. "Damn it, I messed up." Tu Van then beamed proudly, "There's nothing in this world that can't be solved with one enlightenment. If there is, then use two. I am the super VIP player." Nico lost Tu Van. The onlookers were dumbfounded, their jaws dropping in astonishment. He had an enlightenment during the battle. Jia Yulong, still confident, gathered energy in his hand, forming a golden sphere. "So what if you caught me?" He prepared to attack Tu Van with it, boasting, "Your world-breaking pearls effect has worn off. Your strength is probably weaker than mine now." Tu Van simply clenched his fist and replied, "Is that so?" Their attacks clashed. After the impact, Jia Yulong's fingers were twisted and broken. He screamed in agony, "Arg." Seeing this, Tu Van raised his leg and scoffed. "King body? Ha, that's all you've got." He kicked Jia Yulong backward. Jia Yulong crashed to the ground, coughing up blood. Fu Yaotong rushed to his side. Seeing your brother Jia, he struggled to sit up and reassured her, "Don't worry, junior sister. I'm not dying." Seeing Tu Van defeat Jia Yulong, Wan Yongwei asked curiously. "I'm really curious, your world-breaking pearls effect had clearly worn off. How did you defeat Yulong?" He thought to himself, it seems Yulong wasn't a threat after all. Tu Van simply looked at him with cold eyes and said, "It's quite simple. I've already reached the 4 forbidden domains. Even without the world-breaking pearl, I'm stronger than him. I was just pretending." He added modestly, "Having an enlightenment during battle is a bit embarrassing. I should be more humble." Wan Yongwei chuckled coldly, thinking, "So that's how it is. How cunning. I actually thought he had a breakthrough during the fight." Jia Yulong, on the other hand, was furious. "Damn it, I could have one. I shouldn't have revealed the trajectory of my lightning 9 steps to him. Careless mistake." The Chaos Holy Lord said, "Fellow Taoist Wan, we've been quite lenient." Wan Yongwei turned and walked away, scoffing, "Lenient or not, we'll settle this at the dragon's lair. Let's go." Fu Yaotong helped Jia Yulong to his feet and they walked out. After they left, the Chaos Holy Lord praised Tu Van, "You did well this time, bringing honor to the Holy Land." Tu Van replied, "You flatter me, Holy Lord. I am a disciple of the Chaos Holy Land, this is my duty." The Chaos Holy Lord continued, "Well said. However, be wary of those from the Tai So Holy Land when you enter the dragon's lair. They will show you no mercy." Tu Van's spirit soared as he replied confidently, "Don't worry, Holy Lord. If those from the Tai So Holy Land dare to lay a finger on me, I will wipe them all out." The others were speechless. Wow, talk about bold words. The Chaos Holy Lord chuckled, Good, you have ambition, now go back and cultivate diligently." He thought to himself, "I have no idea how to continue this conversation." After the battle, Lin Tiu Na approached Tu Van and asked, "Senior brother, did you have an enlightenment just now? Why didn't you tell the truth?" Tu Van smiled and replied, "Master told me about the grudge between us and the Tai So Holy Land. So, I couldn't reveal the truth to them." She smiled and said, "Senior brother, you're so smart." Outside, dawn had broken and birds were singing in the morning air. Outside, Wan Yongwei, Fu Yaotong and Jia Yulong stood together. Jia Yulong bowed and said to Wan Yongwei, "Elder, this disciple is incompetent. I have brought shame upon the Tai So Holy Land. Please punish me." Wan Yongwei simply replied, "I don't blame you. If Tu Van hadn't concealed his true strength, we wouldn't have suffered such a defeat." Jia Yulong recalled Tu Van's expression during the battle and said, "For a mere mortal to master 3 super-level fighting skills to completion in such a short time, with one even reaching the supreme realm, is truly terrifying." Wan Yongwei smiled and replied, "You are still too inexperienced. Even a holy son wouldn't be able to achieve such rapid progress. He must have used 3 enlightenment divine pills to reach this level." Jia Yulong retorted, "Although the enlightenment divine pill is powerful, it damages the foundation. Why would the Chaos Holy Land do that? Isn't he supposed to be a monstrous genius?" Wan Yongwei sneered, "A monstrous genius? When I saw him, he was just a mortal with no talent whatsoever. The Chaos Holy Land must be hoping to send him to the dragon's lair to seek some benefits. After all, losing a mere mortal is no great loss to them. Jia Yulong finally understood. He chuckled and said, so that's how it is. Fu Yaotong, who was standing beside them, frowned and said, the Chaos Holy Land truly has fallen. Wan Yongwei reassured them, don't worry, I won't let them succeed. When we enter the dragon's lair, you two will work with your fellow disciples to kill him and make sure the Chaos Holy Land's plan fails. Jia Yulong replied, yes, elder. Meanwhile, Tu Van and Lin Tu Na were back with their master. De Tian asked Tu Van, disciple, how do you feel after meeting the Tai So Holy Land's geniuses? Tu Van replied. They are indeed stronger than us. Even their 10th ranked disciple could defeat most of the Chaos Holy Land. De Tian said, I heard they have a disciple with the lightning body, and their Holy Land even boasts a timespace supreme body. Tu Van reassured his master, don't worry, master. I will soon reach a combat power of 700,000 gen. De Tian chided, that's not enough. The strength of special physiques lies not only in their combat power, but also in their unique abilities. You've already experienced that, haven't you? Tu Van replied seriously, you're right, master. If that lightning body disciple hadn't been slightly weaker than me and a bit arrogant, it wouldn't have been easy to defeat him. Do you have any strategies to deal with the timespace supreme body? De Tian explained, as far as I know, the timespace body is naturally gifted with control over time and space. Their speed is unparalleled, making the lightning body look like a joke. Moreover, they can manipulate time to slow down your movements. Although he's only at the body refinement realm, his control over time and space won't be absolute. But even a slight manipulation is enough to overcome any opponent. His speed is at least 10 times faster than the lightning body. Tu Van's eyes widened in surprise. That fast? Then wouldn't we be unable to even touch his shadow? How can we fight him? Seeing his disciples' dismay, De Tian reassured him, that's why it's called a supreme body. However, there are ways to counter it. Firstly, practice long-range attack skills and strike before he gets close. Secondly, enhance your defenses to withstand his attacks. Thirdly, use spirit stones to set up formations beforehand to restrict his speed. Fourthly, utilize sonic attacks to suppress his spirit. It's impossible to guard against. Hearing these countermeasures, Tu Van was impressed. Amazing! As expected of master, you've come up with so many solutions. De Tian handed him several scrolls. These are the long-range attack skill, Little Leaf Flying Daggers, the defensive skill, Golden Bell Shield, the sonic attack skill, Dragon's Roar, and the formations, Chaos Formation, Dragon Trapping Formation, and 8 Gates Locking Formation. I believe others might not be able to master them, but you should be able to. Tu Van took the scrolls excitedly and replied, I won't disappoint you, master. I'll go practice them right away. The next morning, Tu Van sat diligently practicing. Adding those to the 3 previous skills, I was able to use 12 enlightenments in one night. This is the most enlightenments I've used in a single day since learning the Chaos Scripture. He opened his eyes. He was now in the system space. A new mission appeared. Enter the potential dragon rankings. Top 50 reward. 1 enlightenment. Top 10 reward. 3 enlightenments. Top 1 reward. 10 enlightenments. He stood up and asked, what are the potential dragon rankings? A voice from outside replied, the potential dragon rankings are a ranking for outer disciples. Young master, can I come in? Tu Van replied, come in. It was Fu Lin. She entered and explained. Outer disciples challenge the illusory demon tower. Those with accumulated points ranked within the top 100 enter the potential dragon rankings and can obtain more resources. Young master, you are a supreme elder's disciple and already received more resources than them. Why do you want to challenge the tower? Tu Van chuckled coldly and replied. I want to enhance my combat experience. Fu Lin responded, alright, let's go then. Suddenly, Lin Tu Na poked her head in. Master, I want to go too. Fu Lin agreed, alright. Under the vast sky, the setting sun cast a golden glow. Before them stood an imposing tower, reaching towards the heavens. People below marveled at its grandeur. It's so tall. Then came the introduction. This is the illusory demon tower. Tu Van stood with the 2 women at the tower's entrance. Fu Lin, can you tell me about the illusory demon tower? Tu Van asked. She nodded, yes. The illusory demon tower tests the disciples' combat power and weapons. The 4 white stone tablets record the top 100 disciples in the potential dragon. Azure Dragon, True Dragon, and Saint rankings. These are the 4 strongest individual rankings, but they also represent the strongest individuals in each realm throughout history. The 10 black stone tablets record the strongest individuals in history. From the body refinement realm to the heavenly realm. The potential dragon rankings represent outer disciples ranked within the top 100 of the body refinement and chi condensation realms. Their illusory clones reside within the illusory demon tower. Defeating the corresponding clone grants you their ranking. Since they are illusory clones, their physical bodies don't need to be present. Even if the clone dies, there's no harm to the real person. As Fu Lin explained. Tu Van imagined those powerful individuals standing before him. So, if I defeat someone on the potential dragon rankings, my illusory clone will take their place and face challenges from other disciples, Tu Van confirmed. Fu Lin nodded, that's right. However, since your cultivation hasn't reached the chi condensation realm yet, your clone will disappear. To permanently remain on the rankings, you need to claim the top spot on the potential dragon rankings and then defeat the strongest disciple of all time. Tu Van chuckled, his nose seemingly growing longer with pride. Ah, that's not bad. Future generations will get to witness my unparalleled grace. Lin Tu Na, standing beside him, felt apprehensive. She whispered, "Senior brother, only you would exaggerate like that." Fu Lin suddenly became serious, her face pale with worry. Young master, don't underestimate the strongest disciples of all time. They are not simple. Even the Chaos Ancestor's clone is in there. Just hearing that name, one could imagine a man with white hair tied up high, his face full of confidence, introducing himself. I am the Chaos Ancestor, founder of the Chaos Holy Land. You are welcome to challenge me. Tu Van's expression turned serious. The Ancestor also left a clone? Yes, he is the strongest of all time, Fu Lin replied. What about my master? Is he among the strongest of all time? Fu Lin nodded. Of course, but master is only ranked last among the 100 transcendents. Tu Van stopped joking. He felt a sense of unease. Master is the strongest transcendent in the Chaos Holy Land, yet he's ranked last? Fu Lin replied gently. These are the strongest individuals from countless years. Master being able to enter the rankings is already a remarkable feat. A smile crept onto Tu Van's lips. Tu Van, with his handsome features and eagerness for a challenge, said, "This is getting interesting. I'm going to challenge the illusory demon tower. Let's see how far I can go with the enlightenment system." Inside the illusory demon tower, it was like an empty space with only a ground and a boundless sky above. There were no walls. Tu Van looked around and called out, "Tu Na, where are you?" A disembodied voice answered, "Don't bother searching. Upon entering the tower, everyone is teleported here. I am the spirit of the illusory demon tower. You can call me illusory demon." Tu Van's eyes flashed with determination. "Illusory demon, I want to challenge the potential dragon rankings." The spirit replied, "Very well. I will teleport you to the illusory clone of the disciple ranked 100th on the potential dragon rankings. Defeat him, and you will take his place." A moment later, Tu Van sensed something strange. Whoosh, a sword swung towards Tu Van. He barely dodged the sudden attack as the sword-wielding opponent introduced himself, "I am Lin Jia, let us spar." Tu Van smirked inwardly, as expected. Even the last ranked disciple has reached the chi condensation realm. But he doesn't seem strong. Around 200,000 gene of combat power. In a swift motion, Tu Van grabbed Lin Jia's wrist. Bam, with a single punch, he slammed Lin Jia to the ground, the impact radiating a powerful shockwave. Too weak, Tu Van said triumphantly. Outside the illusory demon tower, in front of the stone tablet, a voice announced, "Congratulations to Disciple Tu Van, under Supreme Elder Daithine. For ranking 100th on the potential dragon rankings. It's Tu Van, he's challenging the illusory demon tower again." Someone exclaimed. Murmurs and discussions erupted among the crowd. He doesn't even need to challenge the potential dragon rankings. Lin Jia is at the peak of the chi condensation realm, yet he lost? I heard Tu Van has already entered the forbidden domains. I wonder how high he can climb. Someone wondered. Having experienced Lin Jia's strength, Tu Van could now gauge the overall level of the rankings. He crossed his arms and called out, "Illusory demon, challenging them one by one is too slow. Take me directly to the 50th ranked disciple." The spirit responded to his audacious request, 50th rank? As you wish. Tu Van was instantly teleported to the illusory clone of the 50th ranked disciple. The disciple, with his hair tied up high, one side covering his left eye, stood before him, holding a saber. I am Wang Fei, let's spar. Without hesitation, Wang Fei charged at Tu Van, swinging his saber. Do these clones have their own thoughts? Why are they all so aggressive? Tu Van thought as he effortlessly dodged the attack, his bare hands ready to counter. Sensing his opponent's combat power, Tu Van sighed inwardly. This guy doesn't even have 300,000 gene of combat power. Disappointing. Whoosh! Tu Van unleashed his attack. A red beam of energy shot from his fingertip, piercing through Wang Fei's clone. The clone vanished instantly. Completely underwhelmed, Tu Van sighed, his expression flat. With this level of strength, they're not even worth my effort. The system notification appeared. Congratulations, host, for reaching rank 50 on the potential dragon rankings. Reward: 1 enlightenment. Hearing the notification, Tu Van thought. It seems I've caused quite a stir outside. He called out again, Illusory Demon, take me to the 10th rank. Indeed, in front of the Illusory Demon Tower's stone tablet, a crowd had gathered. Buzzing with excitement about Tu Van's achievements. Look, Tu Van's name is already at rank 50. Someone exclaimed, holy cow, he went from 100th to 50th in one go. Another person couldn't believe their eyes. A body refinement realm cultivator reaching rank 50? That's insane. Fu Lin approached Lin Tuna and asked, how did it go? Lin Tuna looked at her with a disheartened expression. I'm sorry, master. She confessed shamefully, I couldn't even defeat the last ranked disciple. I've let you down. Fu Lin brushed it off. The 100th ranked disciple is already at the peak of the Qi condensation realm. It's normal that you couldn't defeat him. Lin Tuna's spirits lifted a bit. Senior brother has already entered the forbidden domains, he'll definitely win. Fu Lin smiled gently. You probably can't even see his name on the stone tablet from this distance. Come closer. Young master's ranking won't stop there. Lin Tuna said excitedly, I'm going to see how high senior brother has climbed. Lin Tuna quickly ran towards the stone tablet. As she approached, she overheard the whispers. Is he even human? As expected of the one who struck the chaos bell 9 times, someone suddenly pointed upwards. Wow, look, Tu Van is already at rank 10. Another corrected them immediately. No, he's already at rank 3. Lin Tuna's eyes widened into heart shapes, as if surrounded by a cloud of pink hearts. Rank 3? Senior brother is amazing. Suddenly, she overheard a conversation between 2 disciples. The taller one, with short hair and 2 strands hanging in front of his forehead, said. Senior brother Zhang, you're only 50,000 genes stronger than me. You're probably no match for Tu Van. This was Lu Haoso, the former rank 3 disciple who had just been defeated by Tu Van. The other disciple, with long black hair reaching his shoulders, said nervously. I doubt Tu Van will challenge me. He'll definitely challenge the top 2, Zhang Jane. Lin Tuna asked Lu Haoso, who's ranked first. He pointed towards a certain direction. Look, it's her. Lin Tuna followed his gaze, her expression changing slightly. A girl walked through the crowd, drawing everyone's attention. She's here. Lu Haoso said, so the top-ranked disciple on the potential dragon rankings is this person, Shi Chunwu. Shi Chunwu wore a beautiful blue robe. Everyone stepped aside as she approached the stone tablet. Discussions began. Do you think Tu Van can defeat Shi Chunwu? No way. Shi Chunwu has 750,000 gene of combat power. Another disagreed, that's impossible. The first one nodded in agreement, but then added, if he does succeed, it would be truly shocking. Shi Chunwu seemed unconcerned, even a bit expectant. Tu Van, a body refinement realm cultivator reaching rank 3 on the potential dragon rankings. I'm curious to see what you're capable of. Inside the illusory demon tower. System notifications continuously rang out. Host has reached rank 3 on the potential dragon rankings. Reward: 5 enlightenments. Host has caused a stir and created a commotion. Reward: 3 enlightenments. Tu Van closed his eyes and listened calmly. Suddenly, he opened his eyes, a surge of energy coursing through him. His gaze was sharp and determined. Illusory demon. Bring out the number 1. Without delay, the system responded, as you wish. Tu Van was surprised. The number 1 is a beautiful woman? Shi Chunwu's illusory clone appeared, holding a sword. I, Shi Chunwu, have vowed that whoever defeats my illusory clone will become my servant. She stated her promise seriously and resolutely. Tu Van was surprised by her words, thinking, this girl is interesting. What if an ugly guy defeats her? As he pondered, Shi Chunwu suddenly attacked. She shouted, dancing feathers, and thousands of needles shot towards Tu Van. He quickly deployed the Tai Chi diagram to block the attack. Thousands of needles rained down on Tu Van like a storm. Huh, another hidden weapon technique? The needles relentlessly bombarded the Tai Chi diagram. Tu Van couldn't help but exclaim, amazing. Her combat power has surpassed the 7th forbidden domain. Suddenly, cracks appeared on the Tai Chi diagram. Tu Van's expression changed. This isn't good, he thought. She's actually breaking through my Tai Chi diagram. Feeling the Tai Chi diagram about to crumble, he quickly used another technique to block the attack. Shi Chunwu noticed her needles losing momentum. She gritted her teeth in frustration. Tu Van was no longer nonchalant. He assessed the situation seriously. Shi Chunwu's needles could no longer penetrate the golden bell protecting him. Frowning in displeasure, she said, he dodged again. Let's see if you can avoid this. As she spoke, a burst of light enveloped her. 2 white dragons appeared beside Shi Chunwu. This was her ultimate technique, dancing feathers, dragon form. The 2 white dragons lunged towards Tu Van's golden bell. They slammed their bodies against the bell, trying to break through. The golden bell shattered. Tu Van looked at the 2 dragons and said, this is getting tricky. He swiftly dodged the white dragon's attack. Then she used a movement technique, jumping over the white dragon, running forward. Seeing the power of Shi Chunwu, Tu Van thought to himself, wait a minute. Shi Chunwu's fighting strength is actually stronger than mine. Thinking so, but he didn't panic at all. Holding the knife in his hand and saying, but I know more fighting skills than her. After that, he shouted, Xiao Li Dao, and hundreds of knives appeared floating around him. The 2 dragons rushed in without any defense. Tu Van also quickly controlled the knives to rush forward to resist, thinking, not sure if I will lose. When the flying knives and the dragons collided, they made a loud noise. Tu Van continued to use his hand to perform another ultimate move. He summoned Dragon's Might. As soon as he finished speaking, a red dragon with a ferocious face appeared behind Tu Van. He stretched out his hand and ordered it to rush towards Shi Chunwu. Shi Chunwu panicked, covering her head with her hands and screaming, ah! Seeing that Shi Chunwu was caught off guard, Tu Van quickly threw a punch and rushed forward, thinking, good opportunity. He threw a punch to end the match, relaxed and said, phew, finally won. The system immediately displayed a notification. The host has been promoted to first place in the Hidden Dragon rankings, reward 10 enlightenments. The host caused a sensation, reward 3 enlightenments. Outside, an announcement also rang out, congratulations to Disciple of Supreme Elder Tu Van for rising to first place in the Hidden Dragon rankings. The people outside were all surprised when they heard the announcement. Shi Chunwu on this side also said with admiration, amazing. Then she happily thought to herself, this is the person worthy of my following. Li Bufan is far inferior to him. A young man with black hair suddenly said. Senior Sister Ji, I remember you left a message in the illusionary demon tower. Whoever can defeat me, I will follow that person. I wonder if Senior Sister wants to follow Tu Van. Ji Chunwu turned her back and didn't answer him. The people standing around also whispered among themselves, Ji Chunwu actually left such a message, Tu Van is in trouble now. Nonsense, brother, don't you know that Holy Son Li Bufan has his eyes on Ji Chunwu? Holy Son, there's a good show to watch next. Hearing the whispers around her, Ji Chunwu turned her head and asked the black-haired man, Zhang Ji, were you trying to tease the female disciples and got taught a lesson by me, so you want to take this opportunity to get revenge? Hearing her question, the black-haired man didn't deny it, but instead admitted shamelessly, so what? Do you dare to answer my question? Li Bufan is extremely conceited and stubborn, if you dare to agree to follow Tu Van, he will definitely not let you off. Hearing his threat, Ji Chunwu was not afraid at all. Her eyes became even more determined as she replied, Ji Chunwu, my word is my bond, as long as Tu Van accepts, I will follow him. Lin Xiaoya, who was standing nearby, heard these words and said unhappily, what? How can any woman swear such an oath? It's really shameless. Fu Lan, who was standing next to her, saw Xiaoya's reaction and immediately understood. She secretly smiled and thought, it seems that this little girl has just fallen in love. There was a loud noise from the stone tablet, followed by an announcement. Congratulations to Disciple of Supreme Elder Tu Van for becoming the 100th strongest body refinement realm cultivator in the history of the Holy Land of Chaos. Someone below said, top 100 in history, amazing. The people around were also surprised and exclaimed, that's right. The clone can exist forever now, this is going down in history, I wonder if he can go one step further. The black-haired man saw the announcement and frowned unhappily, so what if it's the top 100 in history? I had to go and tell Holy Son Li Bufan. After saying that, he turned and left. Secretly looking down on Tu Van and thinking, based on my brother's personality, if you don't die, I'll take your last name. And there's also that bitch Ji Chun-woo, she won't be able to escape either. Tu Van on this side was receiving the system's reward notification. Top 100 reward 10 enlightenments. Top 50 reward 30 enlightenments. Top 10 reward 50 enlightenments. Top 3 reward 70 enlightenments. Top 1 reward 100 enlightenments. Hearing the number of rewards this time, Tu Van thought to himself, wow, the rewards this time are really good. Then he said excitedly, well then, bring it on. Half an hour later, an explosion rang out, causing the ground to crack and rocks to fly everywhere. A giant monster with a human body and a bull's head appeared in front of Tu Van. Tu Van looked at the giant monster and couldn't help but be surprised, thinking, the one with the heavenly demon god body is truly terrifying. The monster ran towards Tu Van, each step it took causing the earth to shake. In just a moment, the monster was in front of Tu Van. It raised its hand and swiped at Tu Van. Caught off guard, he was hit by the monster's attack and sent flying. Tu Van's entire body slammed into a large rock, blood spurting from his mouth. He tried to regain his composure and remembered his master's words, don't panic. Master once said, as long as it's not the supreme body, no matter how high the realm, there will be weaknesses. The monster roared. Then it continued to charge at Tu Van. He quickly regained his composure and jumped up, dodging the monster's attack. Tu Van jumped behind the monster, causing it to miss. He carefully observed its back and suddenly discovered a red glow on the monster's back. His eyes lit up and he thought, found it. Sharp knives flew out under Tu Van's control. The eyes of the one using the heavenly devil's body darkened with surprise and panic when he saw the weapons. Tu Van flew up into the air, looking at the one using the heavenly devil's body with a confident and challenging expression. He used his technique to launch the knives, causing the guy to gasp and glance over in fear. Tu Van thought. The weak point is the fifth vertebra, I finally found it. He used his technique to control the knives and attacked the one using the heavenly devil's body. The knives shot towards the fifth vertebra of the one using the heavenly devil's body, creating bright red streaks of light like lightning, causing him to scream miserably. After defeating him, the system gave a notification. The host has reached the 10th place in the history of body refinement, reward, 50 enlightenments. After finishing, Tu Van excitedly and happily opened the door and walked out, that was refreshing, let's go. Tu Van wiped the blood from his mouth, seemingly satisfied with the result. However, the number of enlightenments has also reached 146 times. The door slowly opened as everyone outside chattered excitedly, Tu Van is out. They couldn't stop praising him. He's truly amazing, his reputation will spread throughout the Holy Land this time. Ji Chun-woo was also standing in the crowd, waiting for Tu Van. As soon as he stepped out, Tu Van's eyes fell on Ji Chun-woo. He looked at her with a gentle look and couldn't help but be surprised, it's Ji Chun-woo, she's here too. Ji Chun-woo walked gracefully towards Tu Van under the poetic sunlight, seeing Ji Chun-woo approaching, Tu Van clenched his fists, his face blushing with shyness. Ji Chun-woo gently confessed, Master, I once swore that I would follow whoever could defeat me. Ji Chun-woo bowed respectfully and asked Tu Van with a sincere and earnest expression. Today, senior brother Tu has done it, I wonder if you would be willing to accept me? Tu Van replied calmly and politely, thank you for your support, junior sister Ji. We will spar again in the future. But in reality, Tu Van was overjoyed, a beauty before me, only a fool would refuse. Hearing Tu Van's answer, Ji Chun-woo smiled brightly, her eyes crinkled with happiness, and she thanked him profusely, thank you for your guidance, senior brother. Suddenly, a loud sound and a bright red light appeared. It was none other than Holy Son Li Bufan. Everyone was shocked and surprised to see him, their eyes widening in disbelief. Li Bufan crossed his arms arrogantly, surrounded by golden flames. He shouted at Ji Chun-woo, Ji Chun-woo, I don't allow you to follow that trash. The people present, seeing Li Bufan appear, seemed to have guessed what was about to happen. They sighed apprehensively, it's Holy Son Li Bufan. He's always been pursuing Ji Chun-woo, this is going to be interesting. Some even worried for Tu Van is doomed. A few others chimed in, agreeing, that's right, Li Bufan is in the Heaven's Gate realm, 3 realms higher than Tu Van. Li Bufan continued to look smug, crossing his arms provocatively. Tu Van ignored the whispers around him, he even picked his ear while looking at Li Bufan with disdain and contempt. Tu Van, I accept disciples, do I need your permission? Everyone present was shocked to hear Tu Van's defiant reply, they gasped and stared at him in disbelief. Some admired him, damn, Tu Van is so cool, he even dares to confront the Holy Sun, I've opened my eyes today. Others looked down on him, let's see how he's going to die. They looked at Li Bufan's expression and panicked, Li Bufan is angry. Seeing Tu Van's fearless expression and defiant reply, Li Bufan was enraged. He frowned and said sternly, who are you to talk to me like that? You think you're the Holy Sun? Tu Van calmly retorted, then who am I? I accept disciples, what does it have to do with you? From that moment, Li Bufan's anger erupted. He used a technique to gather 7 heavenly gates, causing a dark aura mixed with red to emit from his body. Li Bufan flew up into the air, preparing to attack Tu Van. Under his control. Dark energy gathered around him as he threatened, Tu Van, you're dead this time. Tu Van refused to back down and took a fighting stance. He clenched his fists, his fighting spirit burning brightly as red light emanated from his body. Li Bufan put his hand behind his back with an arrogant look on his face. The people below were terrified when they saw Li Bufan's technique, he's using 7 heavenly gates, how terrifying. Someone even praised Li Bufan, I heard that being able to use 3 heavenly gates already makes one a genius, I didn't expect him to be able to cultivate 7, amazing. The person next to him exclaimed, as expected of the Holy Sun, Tu Van is finished this time. Seeing the situation, Fu Ling hurriedly stepped in front of Li Bufan and tried to persuade him, Holy Sun, our Holy Land strictly forbids disciples from fighting each other, please stop. Fu Ling did this because she thought, although young master is a prodigy, the difference in cultivation between them is too great, he definitely can't win. However, Li Bufan ignored Fu Ling's words and insisted on fighting. He roared and cursed at her, get out of my way. I'm the Holy Sun, how dare you stop me, the executor will annihilate you. Seeing Li Bufan's ferocious attitude, Fu Ling didn't dare to say another word. She stammered in fear, but. Fu Ling thought about the consequences of going against Li Bufan, if I fight the Holy Sun, the executor will definitely take action. And the executor is no joke, he's the one who punishes disciples who commit serious offenses, the most terrifying being in the Holy Land of Chaos, the executor. Ji Chuanwu looked at Li Bufan seriously. Li Bufan, I want to follow senior brother to you. If you're unhappy, just target me directly. Don't bully senior brother to you. Li Bufan was displeased to see Ji Chuanwu's determined attitude. He gritted his teeth in anger. Li Bufan raised his hands and insulted Ji Chuanwu. Shut up, bitch. You think I really like you, he revealed his true monstrous nature, I, Li Bufan. Only have the great Tao divine art, someone like you is at most just a plaything to me. Hearing Li Bufan's hurtful words, Ji Chuanwu clenched her fists, wanting nothing more than to tear him to pieces, you. Lin Xiaoya stepped forward bravely, hands on her hips, and scolded Li Bufan with a righteous expression, what kind of holy son are you, only knowing how to bully the weak. She added insult to injury, mocking him, you've been cultivating for decades, my senior brother has only been cultivating for a few months. If my senior brother had decades of cultivation, he could crush you with one hand. Unable to refute her words, Li Bufan flew into a rage and threatened everyone, how dare you be so disrespectful? Today, I'll let you see what it means to offend the Holy Sun's authority. At this moment, Tu Van calmly stepped forward. With a confident look on his face, Tu Van stepped forward, not forgetting to taunt Li Bufan, come at me, what kind of man bullies women? Seeing Tu Van's actions, Fu Ling was shocked and hurriedly stopped him, young master, don't be impulsive, you're no match for him. Ji Chuanwu felt extremely guilty, senior brother too, I've dragged you into this, let me handle it, run away. Lin Xiaoya also persuaded Tu Van, senior brother, it's best to run. The battle between the two sides was about to begin, Li Bufan still looked arrogant, alright, let me show you what it means to wish you were dead. Tu Van's face remained fearless as he prepared to unleash his technique, not forgetting to retort, who wishes they were dead, Li Bufan. You better watch closely. Tu Van raised his hand and pointed his finger. He seemed to be muttering something, and instantly a blue vortex surrounded him. Li Bufan and Tu Van clashed, the two sides officially engaged in a fierce battle. Those present were shocked to witness Tu Van's technique, is that a divine ability? How can someone in the body refinement realm use a divine ability? This commotion is too much. They still couldn't understand what Tu Van was doing, what is he condensing? Li Bufan still appeared disdainful, humph, what kind of great divine ability can an ant like you at your cultivation level use? Laughable, Li Bufan clenched his fists, seemingly pouring all his energy into this battle as he roared, you dare to steal my woman? Today I'll let you taste what it's like to be stepped on. Seeing the terrifying power in Li Bufan's technique, the three girls were horrified and gasped, their mouths agape as they shouted, "Be careful!" Li Bufan stomped his foot towards Tu Van, engulfed in flames. Seeing this, Tu Van shouted, "Chaos Bell, come forth!" At Tu Van's command, the Chaos Bell instantly appeared, emitting a blinding light. The bell enveloped Tu Van, its power sending Li Bufan flying backward. Li Bufan didn't expect such a turn of events and gasped in shock. Tu Van's attack caused Li Bufan's face to darken, blood spurting from his mouth as he stared blankly, clueless as to what had happened. A fatal blow severely injured Li Bufan, sending him crashing to the ground, blood splattering everywhere. In pain, he still couldn't accept it. How is this possible? I'm the Holy Sun with 7 heavenly gates. Witnessing this scene, Lin Xiaoyao was surprised by Tu Van's previous move and asked Fu Ling, "Master, how can senior brother control the Chaos Bell?" Ji Chuanwu was also puzzled. "Right, it's unbelievable." Fu Ling continued to observe without answering immediately. She then calmly shared her speculation, "That's not the Chaos Bell, it's just a fraction of its power. I'm guessing young master must have comprehended the Chaos guidance when he struck the bell. That's an Emperor weapon." The golden bell acted as a protective barrier around Tu Van. On the other side, Li Bufan clenched his fists, one foot planted on the ground, the other hovering. The others continued to discuss the power to use the Chaos Bell. Is he the son of the Chaos Bell? Another person added, even his master, an emperor, couldn't do it, and he's just in the body refinement realm, he's truly a monster. Li Bufan, being the Holy Sun, refused to admit defeat. He stretched his arms, bent over in a fighting stance, golden flames emanating from his body as he said arrogantly, "So what? You're just an ant in the body refinement realm." He gathered all 7 heavenly gates at once, his power immense. Determined to fight to the end, "I don't believe that with just a bit of the Chaos Bell's power, you can defeat me." Li Bufan immediately leapt up, gathering all his strength into a powerful fist-shaped attack. Tu Van, protected by the Chaos Bell barrier, raised his hands and smiled confidently, with a hint of disdain, "If you want to humiliate yourself, I'll grant you your wish." An earth-shattering clash ensued, sending dust and debris flying. Tu Van had pushed the Chaos Bell forward, while he stood some distance away, his hands raised in front of his chest, knees slightly bent. On the other side, Li Bufan's attack slammed into the bell with full force. He seemed surprised that Tu Van had pushed the bell forward as a shield instead of staying inside. Tu Van immediately counterattacked, touching his thumbs together and gathering energy towards Li Bufan. Li Bufan was caught off guard and took the full brunt of Tu Van's attack. With a loud boom, Li Bufan was sent flying 100 meters away, crashing into the ground and sending dust and debris everywhere. The sheer power of Tu Van's attack was evident. Li Bufan's eyes widened in shock as he looked at his 7 heavenly gates, now cracked and on the verge of shattering. He couldn't believe that Tu Van was this strong. He was now practically kneeling before Tu Van, gasping for breath, his face filled with unwillingness, but he couldn't deny his defeat. Tu Van stood before him, his voice full of authority. "Li Bufan, is that all the strength you have? How disappointing." Li Bufan lowered his head, one knee on the ground. Though defeated and injured, with blood dripping from his mouth, he still uttered in resentment, "If it weren't for the Chaos Bell, I could have easily crushed you like an ant." Tu Van scoffed at his words, "You couldn't even win with your own cultivation." He then raised his foot and stomped on Li Bufan's head. "If I were at the Heaven's Gate realm, killing you would be as easy as slaughtering a dog." Li Bufan grabbed Tu Van's foot, his face full of resentment. "I'm the Holy Sun. How dare you hit me? The executor will cripple your cultivation." Tu Van just smirked, his expression suggesting he wasn't afraid even of the executor. He kicked Li Bufan hard in the stomach. Then, stepping on his stomach, he mocked, "So what if you're the Holy Sun? You struck first. What good is your cultivation if you can't even protect it?" He clenched his fist. Li Bufan lay sprawled on the ground, looking at the foot on his stomach, unable to resist, and let out a pathetic groan. Fearing that Tu Van might do something rash that would affect his future, Fu Ling quickly interjected, "Young master, he's no longer the Holy Sun. Just spare him, he's not worth it." Tu Van replied calmly, "Don't worry, I'm not stupid. Let's go." He turned and walked away with an air of confidence, but not before leaving a warning to the stunned Li Bufan. "Listen up, Li Bufan. If you don't offend me, I won't offend you. But if you do, I will punish you no matter how far you run." The scene shifted to the Emperor's Peak, where peace and tranquility returned. The scenery was picturesque, with white birds returning to their nests in the evening glow. The 3 disciples, along with Ji Chuanwu, arrived and bowed respectfully to DTN. "Greetings, Master." Greetings, Supreme Elder. Greetings, Master. DTN stood there, a pleased expression on his face. It seemed that news traveled fast, and he had already heard everything. With a proud smile, he said, "So you've returned. I've heard about what happened." "Very good." Tuvan kept his hands clasped and quickly apologized. "Master, I hit Li Bufan." "Did I cause you any trouble?" DTN maintained his expression and said, "What's done is done. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it." DTN then instructed with a serious tone, "From now on, focus on your training in the mysterious ghost tower. Improve your combat skills and reflexes." Tuvan lowered his head respectfully and replied, "Yes, Master." Time flew by, a month had passed. The scenery of Dongyu Peak remained unchanged, thick fog enveloping the entire area. The image of the divine point absorbing the black aura continued. It turned out that Li Bufan was sitting cross-legged in meditation. He closed his eyes, his hands clasped together forming a circle of qi, his entire body emitting a radiant aura. Behind him, divine points released long streaks of lightning. He sighed softly. "Finally, the last 7 divine points have recovered." A hand slammed onto a table, creating a loud bang. Li Bufan furrowed his brows, his face contorted in anger. He yelled in fury, "Xiaoyun, I will not let you go unpunished." Then, he turned to his subordinate. "Has my master emerged from seclusion?" The subordinate bowed with clasped hands. Reporting to the Holy Sun, the Peak Master is still in seclusion. He abruptly stood up, his hands clenched into fists. His face was filled with confidence and determination. "I want to request my master's emergence." After speaking, Li Bufan arrived at his master's cultivation place. He stood before the door along with a group of other disciples, shouting loudly. "Master, your disciple has suffered a grievance. I implore you to come out and avenge your disciple." Everyone expected him to seek revenge after completing his cultivation, but unexpectedly. He went to his master, acting pitiful and complaining. He knelt before the door, his mouth wide open, wailing loudly. The disciples surrounding him were stunned, their mouths agape. Then, they pursed their lips, expressing their annoyance. They didn't speak, but their expression seemed to say, "The Holy Sun has some thick skin. He really knows how to change his face quickly. Only children know how to cry for milk." The door creaked open, Dong Yudtang emerged from a puff of white smoke, his face filled with anger. He loudly questioned, "Disciple, what grievance has caused you such distress?" Seeing his powerful patron, Li Bufan knelt on both knees and embraced Dong Yudtang's waist like a bully child reporting to his mother. Before the elder could react, he started wailing, "Master, you must avenge me." It was Xiao Yun, a disciple of the Supreme Elder DTN. Hearing this, Dong Yudtang's face turned dark, his eyes widened, and he roared, "A mere disciple of the Supreme Elder, daring to act with such insolence. His crime is unforgivable." He stomped the ground, each step reverberating with power, sending pebbles flying. Dong Yudtang strode forward, his chi surging around him. He declared firmly, "Master will take you to Deep Peak and seek revenge." Having achieved his goal, a gleeful smile spread across Li Bufan's face. Meanwhile, Xiaoyun stood in a combat stance, his foot stepping forward. Tizho-yun raised her fists, surrounded by a white aura. It seemed that the two were practicing. Tizho-yun executed a move, striking towards Xiaoyun. He blocked the attack, his hand intercepting the strike, his body leaning back. A wave of white chi brushed past Tizho-yun's face, her bangs covering one eye. She smiled slightly. Tizho-yun channeled her chi and attacked Xiaoyun. A burst of chi aimed directly at him. He was forced back several steps. Xiaoyun chuckled, conceding defeat. He raised his hands in a relaxed posture and said, "No more, Tizho Jr. sister, let's stop here." Tizho-yun, her bangs still covering one eye, spread her hand out and praised Xiaoyun, "Xiao Senior brother, your strength is even stronger than before." She offered Xiaoyun a hand, adding, "While you still possess the strength of 700,000 jin, your combat ability has increased by 2 to 3 times. Xiaoyun laughed in response, "Stronger, huh? Doesn't it still mean I can't defeat you? You've already ascended to the Divine Bridge realm." A scene of warm sibling affection. Suddenly, footsteps approached their training spot. It was DTN. He raised his hand with a serious expression and instructed his disciple. "My good disciple, you must pay attention to balancing practice and rest. Take a break for a while." The two turned to DTN. Xiaoyun, having overheard some news, informed DTN without a hint of fear. Master, I heard that Li Bufan's master has emerged from seclusion. Will there be any trouble? DTN calmly reassured his disciple. Master knows. It's Dong Yutong. He was once a defeated subordinate of Master. Now he has ascended to the heaven realm, but he's still not a match for Master. Don't worry, he wouldn't dare to come. Xiaoyun listened with clasped hands. As his words finished, a voice echoed from somewhere, Xiaoyun, get over here. DTN slapped his forehead as if he had been slapped himself. He looked surprised. This fellow actually came. Tizhoyun was also slightly surprised. Only Xiaoyun smirked with disdain, coldly saying, so, he's gotten old enough to bully the young now. Li Bufan and Dong Yutong, their bodies moving like clouds. Soared through the air, landing near the training spot. Li Bufan, relying on Dong Yutong's backing, seemed unconcerned. He arrogantly crossed his arms and shouted, Master, that's Xiaoyun. The one who's sneering. Dong Yutong, what are you doing at my D-peak? The white-haired elder asked. Dong Yutong stood high above, looking down with disdain. You dare to strike my good disciple. This matter cannot be left unpunished. Xiaoyun stood below, raising his hands to pinch his cheeks in a playful gesture. He teased, when I was a child, I fought with my neighbor. He lost and cried, running home to his parents. I didn't expect to see such childish behavior at your age, Li Bufan. How can you be the holy son? He said angrily, Xiaoyun, if you hadn't cheated. Borrowing the power of the chaos bell, even a single hair of mine could crush you. Xiaoyun, despite being below, still looked up with arrogance, daringly challenging him, then, if you're so good, wait until I reach the divine point realm and then we'll fight again. Dong Yutong, standing above, retorted, with Li Bufan by his side, beaming triumphantly. Where is there a fair fight in the cultivation world? You insulted the Holy Sun, forcing me to expend precious treasures to help this child recover his cultivation. Today, I will use the rules of the Holy Land to teach you a lesson. Suddenly, DTN soared into the air. Xiaoyun and Xiaonia looked up. He also grimly mentioned the past, DTN, you defeated me that day, and I've been waiting for a chance to wash away that humiliation. Do you dare to fight? DTN replied, what's there to fear? Let's go. Upon his words, both of them instantly shot up higher. Green chi emanated from DTN, while Dong Yutong was surrounded by a blazing red light. Xiaoyun, standing below, felt anxious. Fu Ling, is there any way for me to chase after that Li Bufan and give him a beating? She looked up and answered. Yes, I've given Xiaonia a flying sword artifact, she can take you to chase him. He turned to Xiaonia with a gentle smile, Junior sister, please take me on the sword then. Xiaonia immediately cast her spell, a yellow chi enveloping her. She replied, yes, that chi enveloped Xiaoyun's legs, lifting him into the air. Alright, let's go. Both Xiaonia and Xiaoyun stood on the sword and soared into the air, the golden light of Fu Ling surrounding them. She carefully held Xiaoyun so he could stand firm. Senior brother, stay steady. Immediately, she led him to Li Bufan. A white aura emanated from him. Xiaoyun, being carried through the air by his junior sister, felt a bit unstable. Junior sister, try to fly more steadily. Let me summon the chaos bell. He added, this feeling is amazing. Suddenly, he yelled. Chaos bell, come forth. Immediately, a golden light surrounded him, taking the shape of a bell. Completely covering him. Li Bufan, facing him, said angrily, you damned brat, again? The next moment, he grabbed his sword and fled, I'm out of here. Leave Xiaoyun behind. Xiaoyun, standing behind the bell, frowned with annoyance as he ran away. Li Bufan, you're a holy son of the Chaos Holy Land, but you run like a chicken from a tempered body realm cultivator. What kind of holy son are you? Li Bufan growled, if I were you, I'd jump straight into a latrine and drown myself. He raised his sword and charged at Xiaoyun, I'll risk it all with you. After a swing of his sword, a yellow-purple chi emanated from the blade, aimed directly at Xiaoyun. As he regained his senses, he noticed the bell charging at him, knocking him away. He slammed into the ground, creating a shockwave that sent debris flying. He lay on the ground, yelling angrily, Xiaoyun, if you have any guts, fight me fairly. Xiaoyun, standing above, looked down. Simultaneously recalling the bell into his hand. He said, fight fairly? You're at the divine point realm. His eyes filled with mockery, he continued to taunt, you want to fight me fairly? Do you think everyone is as brain dead as you? Xiaoyun stood protectively in front of Lin Xiaonia, raising his hand, gathering power in his fingers. He smirked and said, wait until I beat you back to the tempered body realm, then we'll fight fairly. A golden bell appeared, carrying flames, and crashed down onto Li Bufan. He knelt on the ground, his sword thrust into the earth. He stared intently at the fiery bell. A blue light shot towards him at the speed of light. The bell was trapping Li Bufan. He remained motionless in his previous position, when suddenly, the blue light collided with the fiery bell, shattering a corner. Shards flew out. Xiaoyun gritted his teeth, his surprise evident. The chaos bell is broken. Lin Xiaonia, standing behind, also looked up, equally astonished. Li Bufan turned to Xiaoyun, his eyes filled with malice. He chuckled coldly. "Huh, Xiaoyun, seems like you're doomed." A man with long white hair appeared, shouting, "Enough!" It was the law enforcer, a powerful figure of the Holy Land. He warned, "Xiaoyun, you are very bold, daring to insult the Holy Sun, disrespecting your superiors." Xiaoyun met his gaze and countered, "Their master came to my doorstep. Should I not defend myself?" The law enforcer became furious, gathering a blue light in his right hand. He roared, "Insolent! You're just a disciple of the Supreme Elder. You should have treated the Holy Sun with respect. The lack of respect for your superiors will lead to your downfall. Today, I will strip you of your status and eliminate this threat." Fu Ling stood protectively in front of Xiaoyun and Lin Xiaonia. "Law enforcer, our young master is a prodigy. He will surely be able to forge a chaos body in the future. If you strip him of his status, it will affect the revival of the Chaos Holy Land." He frowned, sneering, "Ridiculous. The Chaos Holy Land relies on a tempered body realm cultivator for its revival? DTN was also considered a prodigy, but wasn't he ultimately a failure? Dreaming of forging a chaos body, you're delusional." He conjured a giant blue hand. He controlled the giant hand, aiming it towards Xiaoyun and Lin Xiaonia. They stood still, Lin Xiaonia clinging to Xiaoyun's arms. Below, Fu Ling seemed to encounter a problem. Her body trembling slightly, her appearance helpless. "It's no use, I can't move my body." Xiaoyun seemed to experience a similar situation, his body shaking, struggling to move. His face darkened, his fists clenched. He muttered, in front of the law enforcer, "I'm nothing more than an ant." He grew increasingly angry, his eyes filled with determination. His teeth gritted. The cultivation world is indeed one where the strong rule. Where they can control the lives of others at will. Strength, I need strength. If I survive, I will definitely crush that damn law enforcer. Those around them watched in fear, engaging in lively discussions. "Fu Ling and Xiaoyun are doomed," one commented. Another agreed, "Yes, they angered the law enforcer, they will definitely be torn apart. What a pity, a genius lost." The law enforcer's attack shattered the rocks below. After that attack, a handprint was left on the ground, dust billowing, rocks scattered. A law enforcer observed the scene below. "Huh, they were saved." He frowned in displeasure. A figure appeared, slowly landing on the ground. Dongshin Wang. It was merely a clash between two juniors. The person who had saved Xiaoyun was the Chaos Holy Lord. He stood with clasped hands behind his back, Xiaoyun, Lin Xiaonia, and Fu Ling by his side. He continued, "The clash with Dong Yutong is a trivial matter, there's no need for you to intervene." He fiercely countered the Chaos Holy Lord, "Holy Lord, you have cunning methods. However, even you cannot shield your disciple from his transgressions, his disrespect for his superiors." The Chaos Holy Lord reconciled, "For good or bad, Xiaoyun once summoned the Chaos Bell 9 times. Such a small matter, it's not worthy of fighting to the death." Fu Ling explained, "This Dongshin Wang is the elder brother of Dong Yutong, and also the greatest opponent of our master." Xiaoyun understood, no wonder, so they're family. Xiaoyun, filled with anger, furrowed his brows, his teeth grinding, secretly vowed, "You bastards, wait until I become stronger. Then I'll subdue you all." The law enforcer remained stubborn, "Holy Lord, rules are rules." Xiaoyun insulted the Holy Sun. "As the law enforcer, I must naturally enforce the law impartially." Fu Ling angrily questioned him, "Does being a Holy Sun mean you can attack ordinary disciples at will? We can't fight back? Is that the way of the world?" He was arrogant, "This is the rule of the Holy Land. Unless you also become a Holy Sun." Xiaoyun looked up at him, then, "How does one become a Holy Sun?" The law enforcer retorted, "You want to become a Holy Sun now? Too late." He explained, "Achieve great feats, enter the sect and summon the Chaos Bell 6 times, or possess special qualities. These are the 3 ways to become a Holy Sun, unfortunately. You can't do any of them now." The Chaos Holy Lord spread his hand out and smiled. "Dongshin Wang, Xiaoyun will soon reach the Dragon Soar realm. Based on his combat abilities, he will surely achieve great feats and ascend to the Holy Sun position. The law enforcer was furious. Pointing with his finger, that's the future. Right now, he's not a holy son, he must be punished. Xiaoyun suddenly interjected, who said I can't become a holy son right now. He sat upright, his posture like meditation, a golden light surrounding him. Tiz Ho Yun and Lin Xiaonia stood nearby. He said confidently, today, I will show you that the petty title of holy son is mine for the taking. The onlookers started buzzing, their discussions resumed. One asked, what is he doing? Another answered, he seems to be practicing the chaos scripture, forging a chaos body. Someone else scoffed, foolish. How is that possible? Another had a glimmer of hope, however, if he can forge the shape of the chaos body, that is the king body, and he could become a holy son. Yet another countered, that requires reaching the 36th level of the chaos scripture. He's truly a delusional fool. Lin Xiaonia inquired. Master, is it very difficult to forge the shape of the chaos body? Fu Lian answered, very difficult. Our master spent 200 years before succeeding. Lin Xiaonia was horrified, 200 years? The law enforcer clasped his arms and laughed, ridiculous. He wants to forge the shape of the chaos body in such a short time. This fellow must be crazy. The Chaos Holy Lord sighed in exasperation. Heis, Xiaoyun must be sick to be looking for a cure. The Chaos Holy Lord stepped in front of Xiaoyun and said to the law enforcer, Dong Xinwan, if that's the case, why not give Xiaoyun some time? It's not a big deal. He crossed his arms and made a deal, alright, I won't bully him. I'll give him 7 days. The law enforcer's eyes gleamed with amusement. He thought to himself. Even if I give him 7 years, 70 years, he won't be able to forge the shape of the chaos body. Meanwhile, Xiaoyun was still diligently working. He sat within the golden light, his eyes closed, teeth gritted, silently thinking, once I break through the 10th level of the chaos scripture, I'll be able to break through to the chi-gathering realm. My goal in the tempered body realm was to reach the maximum combat power of 1 million jin, but it's not achievable. I can't enter the Dragon Soar realm either. However, with death looming, what's the point of the Dragon Soar realm? A blue light suddenly appeared on his forehead. His eyes remained shut, his mind still lost in thought. He used a single enlightenment with the chaos scripture. A scroll appeared, and the system announced, enlightenment failed. A blue light emanated from his forehead. His face showed his frustration. 1 use and still no breakthrough. He resolved, then I'll use another. Xiaoyun remained in his previous state, his focus unwavering. Those around him continued to observe. The golden light shone brightly, swirling around his seated figure. Fu Ling realized his actions and her mind began to send a warning. Oh, no, young master wants to break through to the chi-gathering realm, then he won't be able to enter the Dragon Soar realm. Golden and red light threads continuously appeared, enveloping Xiaoyun as he sat in a state of absolute concentration, his expression contorted in discomfort. The Chaos Holy Lord, witnessing this, couldn't help but say, he can't break through to the chi-gathering realm, then he won't be able to enter the Dragon Soar realm. He approached Xiaoyun, his hand gathering golden chi. The Holy Lord confidently smiled, don't worry, I will intervene and suppress his cultivation level. Those threads of chi gradually infiltrated him, providing some stability. Seeing this, Fu Ling expressed gratitude on behalf of Xiaoyun. She sighed, thank you, Holy Lord. Lin Xiaonia saw those threads of chi floating in the air, her eyes following them as she exclaimed, look, senior brother has already broken through a level. He's definitely able to forge the shape of the chaos body. This cultivation process unfolded before the law enforcer, who observed with disdain, what's there to boast about? It's only the 10th level. He's still far from the 36th level. Amidst the golden light, a blue light gathered at the center of Xiaoyun's brow. He thought, I didn't expect that cultivating to the 10th level of the chaos scripture would require 2 enlightenment uses. It seems the difficulty increases with each level. However, luckily, I have enough enlightenment uses accumulated beforehand. Let's go. Finally, the golden light erupted. Xiaoyun continuously broke through. First, it was the 11th level of the chaos scripture, then the 12th level, and he even achieved the 13th level. Under the watchful eyes of the countless onlookers, they gasped in admiration. Incredible. He's breaking through continuously. Earlier, the Supreme Elder DTN said he could achieve 9 levels in a day. Could it be true? Unbelievable. Gigi Long, observing from below, became slightly anxious and asked the red-haired law enforcer, senior brother, Xiaoyun won't really forge the shape of the chaos body, will he? That person, full of confidence, replied to Gigi Long, don't worry. Even if he had a strong comprehension, he wouldn't be able to cultivate the chaos scripture to the 36th level within a week. At this moment, the process of his breakthrough released more chi than before. The golden threads, initially scattered, were now gathering into swirling bands, shimmering with a silver light. Fu Ling recognized this as a good opportunity. She quickly spoke, "Tizho, come stand beside young master and cultivate. Young master doesn't need this heavenly and earthly chi, but you can use it to increase your cultivation level." Tizho Yun nodded in agreement, looking towards Fu Ling and Lin Xiaonia, who stood behind Xiao Yun. She exclaimed happily. "All right. This is amazing. My great opportunity has arrived." She rushed towards him without hesitation. Tizho Yun immediately assumed a focused meditative posture, sitting beside Xiao Yun, beginning her own cultivation. The purple light emanating from her quickly joined the golden light of Xiao Yun. Fu Ling looked back at her disciple. Seeing Lin Xiaonia enviously observing the two, she encouraged her, "Xiaonia, if you don't enter the Dragon Soar realm, now is your great opportunity. Break through to the Chi-gathering realm, reach the peak of the Chi-gathering realm, even the Divine Bridge realm is possible." But she hesitated. Pausing before saying this Tizho Yun listened to Fu Ling and in response, she simply hummed. The purple light from Tizho Yun suddenly surged and she immersed herself in it, reaching the mid-stage of the Divine Bridge realm. The onlookers were startled and exclaimed, "Mid-stage Divine Bridge realm? Wasn't Tizho Yun just promoted to the Divine Bridge realm?" The onlookers exclaimed, "Such a great opportunity, it would be strange if she didn't break through." One looked on with admiration, "Amazing." Lin Xiaonia, witnessing this, felt her heart tremble. She pondered anxiously, "What should I do? What should I do? It would take me at least a decade to cultivate to the Divine Bridge realm on my own. Moreover, if this continues, the gap between me and Tizho Yun will only widen." Then, the sound of clicking heels on tile echoed. Lin Xiaonia finally decided, and she ran towards the sound. She exclaimed with determination, "Master, I'm not going to the Dragon Soar realm anymore." Fu Ling smiled contentedly behind her. Scene change. Currently, Xiao Yun and Lin Xiaonia are sitting in meditation. However, a strange thing is happening. A dazzling golden light surrounds Xiao Yun's position. Fu Ling is standing to the side, observing the two. With a kind face, she then smiles contentedly, her eyes narrowed, and says, "This is the best for Lin Xiaonia. It's a great opportunity. Young master also loses a stepdaughter, it's a win-win situation." At that moment, Lin Xiaonia suddenly undergoes a transformation. She closes her eyes, raises her face to the sky, and unexpectedly breaks through. Brilliant rays of light in a captivating purple color radiate around Lin Xiaonia. Lin Xiaonia's stunningly beautiful face, mixed with something captivating, features delicate features. She curves her brow slightly and thinks to herself, "This is fast." The countless people standing below witnessing this scene are bewildered, expressing their admiration with surprise. "Want to go there to cultivate too," one says. "Amazing," another proclaims. One person resolutely protests, "Xiao Yun couldn't have really forged the shape of the chaos body, could he?" Look, Xiao Yun sits in complete focus. Suddenly, the light around him begins to ascend towards the sky. Large lotus flowers, incredibly beautiful, exceptionally exquisite, and vibrant pink, appear along with the light. The people below exclaim, "Oh my God, it's the three flowers gathering at the top." Everyone below is stunned and instinctively takes a step back, their eyes gazing up at the sky to appreciate the beauty. They shout, "Xiao Yun has cultivated the chaos scripture to the 18th level, look." Indeed, the Supreme Elder DTN said 9 levels in a day, it's true. Truly terrifying. Suddenly, among them, a red-haired man, with a frustrated expression, his lips visibly curling in anger, thinks to himself, "How is this possible? Less than a day, the three flowers gathering at the top. Even the ancient emperors didn't have this kind of comprehension." As for Fu Lian, she now looks at the three flowers, then extends her graceful hands, gently supporting the branches of the brightly pink lotus flowers. She then sighs in disappointment, "Such a pity, young master can't use these three flowers. They can only benefit Xiaonia and Zhanwu." Fu Lian then moves her hand, using her bare hand to strike the position where Zhanwu and Xiaonia are solemnly sitting in meditation, with the three flowers floating around them. At that moment, she simultaneously causes Zhanwu and Xiaonia to break through once more. Another breakthrough. Zhanwu, with a joyful and delighted expression, laughs heartily, her eyes narrowed. Looking towards Lin Xiaonia beside her, she has a slightly different expression. Her mouth wide open as she raises her face to look straight at the sky. Looking at the image of our Chaos Holy Lord's face, filled with joy and amusement, one can easily see how excited he is. The Chaos Holy Lord says, this is benefiting others, what a lucky pair of girls. Xiao Yun, with a smug expression, has everything under his control. He thinks, as expected, breaking through to the 19th level requires 3 enlightenment uses. It seems that even with a few hundred enlightenment uses, I won't be able to forge a chaos body. Luckily, I have a system. Next, the light streams intertwine and blend together, forming a circle in the sky. The group of people standing there keep their eyes glued to the 3. Zhanwu, Xiao Yun, and Lin Xiaonia. They start discussing, the concentration of qi on top of D peak is even stronger now. Amazing. Yes, those 2 girls are profiting. I wonder if Xiao Yun can take another step forward. Fu Ling, standing behind the 2, has been diligently using her magic to transmit power to Xiaonia and Zhanwu. Such a rich concentration of qi, it can't be wasted. Loud sounds suddenly resound continuously, boom, boom. Zhanwu, with her eyes closed, smiles contentedly, thinking, amazing, I've reached the peak of the Divine Bridge realm. Xiaonia, not to be outdone, also reveals a satisfied expression, likely having the same thoughts as Zhanwu. So fast, I'm about to break through to the Divine Point realm. The sky suddenly transforms, becoming incredibly gloomy and dark. The white clouds swirl around the void, forming a circle in a clockwise direction, accompanied by countless dazzling golden-orange rays of light. Xiao Yun, now brimming with charisma and bravery, sits on a soft white cloud like cotton. The light around his body shoots into the sky, blending with the small clouds above, adding a breathtaking beauty to them. It turns out this is the 5 Qi gathering. At that moment, an elderly man with silver hair is stunned by this event and looks up, his face filled with shock. He gapes and exclaims, this is the 5 Qi gathering. He silently marvels, he has already cultivated the chaos scripture to the 27th level. Some of the people below are utterly amazed, staring with wide eyes. Some even point upwards, they buzz with excitement, 3 flowers gathering at the top, 5 Qi gathering, truly terrifying. He actually managed to achieve this within a day. If this person can't forge the chaos body, then no one else in the world can. There's only 1 level left. The red-haired man furrows his brow, grits his teeth, and thinks angrily to himself. How is this possible? On the other hand, Li Bufan has the same thoughts, mirroring the red-haired man's expression. He ponders, impossible, impossible, this is absolutely impossible. In contrast to those 2, the Chaos Holy Lord, as expected, raises his eyes, witnessing the event. The expressions on his face gradually expand, revealing a continuous smile of satisfaction. He then says, with such comprehension, our Chaos Holy Land has hoped to rise again. Fu Ling raises her hand, watching the small, glowing clouds in the sky. She thinks, another great opportunity. Xiao Yun is still sitting there, emitting increasingly powerful light from his body. Fu Ling, retracting those clouds, then uses her strength to extend her hands, transmitting them towards Zhanwu. The 7 colored luminous clouds follow the path and head towards Zhanwu. Fu Ling contemplates, Xiaonia is at the peak of the Qi gathering realm. She only needs to condense her spirit energy to enter the Divine Bridge realm. I can only give it to Zhanwu first. Zhanwu, invigorated by the power, breaks through once more at a rapid pace. The girl looks extremely joyful and excited. Her mouth stretches into a wide smile as she replies, finally, I've reached the peak of the Divine Bridge realm. Next is to break through this bottleneck. Beautiful Fu Ling, witnessing this, begins to retract the multicolored clouds. She uses her large eyes to look at her and says, it depends on your own fate now. Scene change, the Chaos Holy Lord seems to be moved. He stands proudly, spreading his arms and channeling his power. He then says, meeting each other is fate. Today, I will lend you some strength. In a short while, Zhanwu and Xiaonia receive the power bestowed by the Chaos Holy Lord. Their faces light up with joy as they raise their hands to accept. Fu Ling smiles brightly and says, great sound sacrifice, this is the holy sound. It has 1% enlightenment efficiency, another great blessing. Turning to Xiaonia, who is sitting there incredibly happy, having successfully received all of it, she replies, wow, I actually broke through to the Divine Bridge realm. Witnessing her disciples' continuous breakthroughs, Fu Ling couldn't help but respond to Xiaonia's determination. She then channels her power into her body from behind. She doesn't forget to encourage her, my good disciple, Master will help you. Xiaonia, fortunate to be sitting upright, closes her eyes and receives the surge of power. Lin Xiaonia has been promoted again. She sits there with her eyes closed, her hands clasped together in a circle at her waist. She says, this Huangwen is really incredible, she's already broken through to the mid-stage of the Divine Bridge realm. Fu Ling, from behind, continues to channel her power into Xiaonia's body. Late stage Divine Bridge Realm, Peak Divine Bridge Realm, Peak Divine Bridge Realm. Xiaonia's image appears below, comfortably enjoying the essence. The beautiful Xiaonia opens her eyes wide and looks ahead. She sighs and says, "Ah, another bottleneck. Seems like I can only go this far." Simultaneously, Zhanwu has reached the Divine Point realm. She also clasps her hands together in a circle, positioned at her waist. The purple light above her head begins to gather, swirling into a circle. Seeing Zhanwu's impressive achievement, as Zhanwu sits solemnly, Xiaonia also steps forward and puts her hand on her chest. Praising her, Tizho's senior sister, "You're incredibly powerful. You managed to enter the Divine Point realm with one action." Fu Ling strides towards them, placing her hands on her hips. Then gently reminds Xiaonia and Zhanwu, "You two are really lucky, but don't be too happy. Leveling up too quickly can be unstable. From now on, you must go to the illusionary demon tower every day to train your combat experience." Hearing this, Xiaonia turns and replies, "Yes, master." Xiaonia now looks excited, her eyes narrowed. She strikes a cute and adorable pose. Her hands wrapped around her rosy cheeks. She thinks, "Divine Bridge Realm, finally I can ride a sword and fly, amazing." Xiao Yun appears with an ethereal, transcendent image. He sits in meditation, diligently cultivating, his eyes closed and peaceful. Above him are branches of lotus flowers, imbued with a pure beauty. Below him is a lake with pink and white lotus flowers blooming. Alongside them are large, round, deep green leaves and sweet lotus buds. Everyone below looks up curiously at the clear blue sky, where the red three flowers are faintly visible. They are amazed and exclaim, "Could those be the 30 great islands of the first shadow? He has forged the shape of the chaos body. Amazing." The old man with white hair witnesses this rare sight. His eyes wide open in shock. He gapes, stroking his white beard, and shouts, "Oh my god, what kind of monster is this? DTN has struck gold." Sadly, for him, his silky smooth beard is accidentally severed by his own hand. Looking down at his beloved beard, now gone, the old man with white hair panics. He exclaims, "Oh no, my precious beard, it hurts." The Chaos Holy Lord, with his resolute stance and heroic charisma, extends one hand forward, the other behind his back. He gives a direct order. The disciple of the Supreme Elder, Xiao Yun, has exceptional talent and has forged the shape of the chaos body. Immediately promote him to Holy Son. Returning to Xiao Yun, after a long struggle, he exhales, smirks to the side, his eyes filled with satisfaction, and says triumphantly, "Ah, finally broke through. This is the shape of the chaos body after all." Everything finally falls into place. The Chaos Holy Lord steps toward Xiao Yun. His hands clasped behind his back. He whispers, "Congratulations, Holy Son. I hope you will continue to strive and soon forge the chaos body, leading our chaos holy land to rise again." Hearing these words, Xiao Yun turns his face and quickly replies, "Thank you, Holy Lord, for your protection. Your disciple will definitely forge the chaos body." In a different development, Li Bufan and a red-haired man are standing together in front of Xiao Yun. Li Bufan frowns and yells, "I'm the Holy Son now, do you two have anything to say?" The red-haired man, not to be outdone, smirks and says, "Humph." The red-haired man furrows his brows, glances over, and says with a dark face, "DTN has truly found a good disciple." Suddenly, at this crucial moment, the red-haired man inexplicably flies up into the air. What the hell is going on? Returning to Xiao Yun, Li Bufan, and the Chaos Holy Lord, Xiao Yun stands defiantly, crossing his arms, and says to the Holy Lord, "Holy Lord, does this mean I can freely beat Li Bufan, as long as I don't kill him?" The Chaos Holy Lord, after listening, replies calmly, "In theory, yes." Li Bufan, seeing this, is terrified. Li Bufan's face is full of worry and fear. Sweat uncontrollably streams down his face. Xiao Yun, after hearing the Chaos Holy Lord's words, doesn't yield. He winks triumphantly, his hands clenched, and says calmly, "Li Bufan, you heard that, come on." Continuing this scene, Li Bufan, after hearing those words and seeing his actions, becomes incredibly fearful and flees. Xiao Yun, seeing Li Bufan's lack of composure, chuckles, standing with crossed arms, watching the terrified figure flee. As he watches, he cracks his knuckles, his tone bewildered. "Wow, that's fast." He stands there, looking on. Suddenly, his expression changes, his face turning serious, even a bit frightening. He purses his lips, glancing at him with hateful eyes, and says, "Humph, you think I can't fly or something? Wait until I return from the Dragonsaur realm, after increasing my cultivation. Then I'll settle the score with you." A moment later, the three beautiful girls, like fairies, descended to earth. Zhanwu, Xiaonia, and Fu Ling all run cheerfully toward Xiao Yun. Fu Ling speaks first, "Congratulations, young master." Zhan Wu, standing beside her, follows. "Congratulations, senior brother." Finally, Xiaonia, standing opposite him, says, "Senior brother, you're amazing." Xiao Yun, amidst the praise, smirks and replies, "You all have also improved a lot. Let's celebrate, let's celebrate." He then reaches out and pats the head of the petite girl standing opposite him, Xiaonia. She, with her hands clasped, happily smiles and boasts her achievements to him. "Senior brother, I'm now at the peak of the Divine Bridge realm." "I've surpassed you," Xiaoyun helplessly replies. "Then doesn't that mean you can't follow me into the Dragon Soar realm?" Fu Ling, standing nearby, chuckles and teases, "Without a stepdaughter like her, young master will be freer in the Dragon Soar realm." Xiaoyun quickly replies, "True." Without waiting long, Xiaonia suddenly lowers her head, revealing a sorrowful expression. The contrast between her current expression and her previous one is evident. It seems that Xiaonia has reached her limit and can't bear it anymore. That adorable expression appears, but mixed with it is anger and resentment. She closes her eyes, purses her lips, and yells, "You guys." Soon, she pushes her anger and resentment deep down and silently looks down at the ground. She reaches out and tightly clasps his hand, worriedly reminding him, "Senior brother, you have to be careful." Zhan Wu, picking up where Xiaonia left off, says, "I wish you victory in your first battle, senior brother Xiao." Xiao Yun, stroking Xiaonia's head with one hand and putting his arm around Zhan Wu's shoulder with the other, looks at her and says resolutely, "Don't worry, don't you trust in your senior brother's abilities?" At this moment, his master appears, an elderly man with silver hair, wearing a sophisticated pure white robe. He walks over, clasps his hands behind his back, and gently urges him, "All right, it's time to go. We can't keep delaying any longer." He obediently replies, "Yes, master." His master unexpectedly says in a serious tone, "Our Chaos Holy Land has been quiet for too long, so long that the cultivators outside have forgotten that our Chaos Holy Land is one of the 6 great Holy Lands." Xiao Yun, hearing his master's thoughts, agrees and becomes excited. He clenches his fist and replies excitedly, "Even more than that, this time, let your disciple tell them, our Chaos Holy Land is still the strongest Holy Land." His master feels reassured hearing these words from his disciple. He flies into the air. Below him is a half-sphere of shimmering blue. He then bursts into laughter, "Ha, not bad, my disciple. You forged the shape of the chaos body, your combat power has reached 800,000 Jin." Xiao Yun responds, "Yes, congratulations on your victory over the Heaven Realm powerful figure, master." He then smiles fondly at his disciple and says, "A mere, defeated, mid-stage Heaven Realm cultivator. What's so hard about defeating him? Next, you must hone your combat skills, strive to reach 1 million Gene combat power at the Dragon Soar realm, and become a chaos body as soon as possible." Xiao Yun immediately accepts the order, "Yes, master, your disciple will definitely forge the chaos body." He uses his eyes filled with passion for his mission, smiles slightly, and then silently thinks, "Dragon Soar lair, wait for me. I will definitely rise to greatness." Scene change, the twilight descends, casting a shadow over the empty sky. A soft purple hue paints the breathtaking natural landscape. In a short time, the clock hands turn. 3 days before the opening of the Dragon Soar lair. At Deep Peak, Xiao Yun, Xiaonia, Fu Ling, and Zhan Wu stride confidently forward. Fu Ling holds a dazzling ring, handing it to Xiao Yun. She says, "Young master, this spatial ring contains spirit beast meat, legendary flying daggers, and various spirit cores. Carry it with you." Xiao Yun, not hesitating to accept Fu Ling's kindness, replies, "Thank you." 2 figures are walking around the Dragon Soar lair. Those 2 were, in fact, the elder of the Shan Shui sect, Shan Shuizong, and his disciple, Xiao Yun. The old man turned to his disciple and instructed, "Disciple, stay here and wait for the Jinlong Chao to open. I will go and meet some old friends first." Xiao Yun stood obediently beside him, replying, "Yes, master." At that moment, a blinding light emerged. From within the light, a beautiful girl emerged, seemingly the supreme elder of the Shan Shui sect, Lu Han Yuan. She spoke, "Here we are." The cold-faced elder replied, "Yes." Xiao Yun winked suggestively, his face flushed with excitement, his thoughts swirling. Extramarital affairs, who would have thought that master's sword wouldn't be rusty? Suddenly, a soft, familiar female voice sounded. This must be senior brother Xiao. Upon hearing this, he quickly turned to see who it was. The girl was none other than Tang Yun, a disciple of the Shan Shui sect. The beautiful girl smiled lightly and walked slowly towards him. This seemed to be the first time Xiaoyun had met the girl, so he asked in surprise, "Excuse me, miss, what is your name? How do you know me?" She introduced herself and explained. "My name is Tang Yunyun. I am from the Shanshui sect. As for why I know you, it is because the beautiful woman who left with your master is my master." Upon hearing this, he hurriedly bowed deeply. It turns out to be senior sister Tang. "Xiao humbly greets you." She clasped her hands behind her back and replied shyly. "My master said that the Heaven's Gate Elder has taken on a very powerful disciple. Now that I have met you, it is clear that you are no ordinary person." At the same time, a terrifying voice boomed throughout the area. "This is the Ba Wang sect. All you riffraff, get out of my way." The terrifying shout made both of them jump in fright. They quickly turned to see where the noise was coming from. It turned out the shout came from the Ba Wang sect's coachman. He was brandishing a thick rope, spinning it around menacingly, while yelling arrogantly. "Anyone who dares block the Ba Wang sect's path is asking for death." Tang Yunyun's face was cold, her eyes sharp, as if filled with hatred. She walked forward and punched the horse in the head with a powerful blow, causing it to spew blood and die instantly. The coachman soared through the air, yelling in bewilderment, "Ah!" The carriage behind him also flew into the air and crashed to the ground, shattering the rocks and sending debris flying. Everything inside the carriage was tossed about. The coachman, his mouth bloodied, rushed towards the girl, furiously yelling. You dared to obstruct our Ba Wang sect's carriage? You even dared to kill our horse. Are you tired of living?" Tang Yunyun stood calmly, arms crossed, her face arrogant. She retorted with a mocking tone, "Your influence is truly great. You bump into people and act like you are in the right, so you have no fear." Suddenly, a voice came from behind the coachman. "Did we bump into her? How come I don't remember that?" Everyone quickly turned around to see a girl named Zhang Yaqin slowly approaching. She was a female disciple of the Ba Wang sect. Upon hearing this, Tang Yunyun reluctantly responded, "If my strength was not strong, I would have been hit by you by now." Zhang Yaqin frowned unhappily and stated the truth. "In that case, we never bumped into you." She said angrily, "You even killed our horse." She immediately slammed her foot to the ground, gathering momentum, preparing to attack. She lunged forward, striking Tang Yunyun's face with a powerful blow, causing it to swell up, and yelled, "You stinking harlot, you deserve this." After being slapped painfully in the face, Tang Yunyun clutched her cheek and mumbled, "You." Zhang Yaqin sneered and said arrogantly, "You don't act like you weren't hit, even if our Ba Wang sect bumped into you, so what?" Tang Yunyun ran and hid behind Xiaoyun. He frowned and reprimanded Zhang Yaqin, trying to defend her. "Arrogant Ba Wang sect, slap yourself and apologize to her. Or don't blame me for being rude. You dare to bully my future mother-in-law's disciple." The woman pointed at his face with disdain and yelled abusively, "Who do you think you are? Daring to speak to me like that?" Zhang Yaqin lunged toward Xiaoyun, raising her hand as if to strike, and warned, "Want to slap me? Then I'll slap your mouth to pieces first." Although the woman's hand was inches from his face, Xiaoyun closed his eyes and calmly said, "Originally, I didn't want to hit a woman. But who would have thought you have a heart as cruel as a viper? You brought this upon yourself."